So are you people familiar with the GMAT exam, or should I go and explain it once? You can speak it out now. Please
Explain
ensure that.
it once.
Just explain it once. Sir, explain it.
Sure, sure.
Yes, please explain it.
So the point is, this is a new exam called GMAT Focused Edition. And technically, there are 3 sections to this exam. That is quant. Now there is only one exam, that is GMAT Focused Edition. There should be no confusion at all. So before we had a GMAT Classic Edition till 31st January. Now there is only one GMAT exam called GMAT Focused Edition. So GMAT means GMAT Focused Edition. That's it. And there are 3 sections to it, guys. In quant, you have one section called quant, you have one section verbal, and the third section is data insights. So in quant, there are 21 questions and you have 45 minutes to it. In verbal, there are 23 questions, you have 45 minutes to it. In data insights, you have 20 questions, you have 45 minutes to it. So what happens in quant is that all the 21 questions are problem solving questions. Like you are given one question and there are 5 options given to you. You just have to choose one option, whichever is the answer. There's only one answer that is right. So what is the difference between GMAT Focused Edition and GMAT Classic Edition? I'll just get you a bit of detail so that your understanding is very clear. So what used to happen before in quant, in GMAT exam, there used to be 31 questions and there used to be 62 minutes to it. Now, out of these 31 questions, there were 2 types of questions that used to come. One was problem solving, another was data sufficiency. What GMAT has done in the present exam is that they have, in quant section, they have put only problem solving over here. That is 21 questions problem solving. And they have put data insights. There are 2 types of questions that are asked, guys. One is data sufficiency plus integrated reasoning. Now they have moved the DS from quant to data insights section. So there, please understand, if at all, there would be 21 questions in quant and there would be problem solving and data sufficiency. You can expect that there will be 10 questions of data sufficiency for sure. Anyway, there will be 10 questions of data sufficiency in data insight section. So technically, there has been not even 0.1% change in the content of exam. The structure of exam has a bit changed for sure. In quant, now you have problem solving, completely 21 question. Data sufficiency section has been moved to DI section, data insight section. But while we are doing every chapter in the quant, we'll be doing data sufficiency plus problem solving both. Anyone, any doubt over here? Any doubt? Sarthak, is this clear? Khyati, any problem here?
No, this is clear.
No, all clear.
So all we can expect that there has not been a bit of reductions on the weightage of data sufficiency that used to be given in the GMAT exam. Data sufficiency will be same. Even if data sufficiency was asked in the quant section, you would have expected 10 questions for sure. Giriraj, any problem here? Anyone? Rahul, any problem? So just the structure of exam has changed. The content remains same, guys. And data sufficiency is a section which we'll have to study with every math chapter. And that's the reason I'm focusing on it. Because when we are doing the individual chapter of math, data sufficiency will be covered over there. In verbal section, what they have done is, there are 23 questions, 45 minutes. And the question that comes in the verbal is critical reasoning and reading comprehension. There are only 2 sections in verbal. So it should be very much clear to you. There is absolutely no sorts of SC as a section has been removed out. It was a very daunting section. It used to require a lot of time to have a grasp on sentence correction, but now there's only critical reasoning and reading comprehension. It's all about how beautifully you read, how beautifully you analyze and mark the answer. We'll discuss about the verbal section tomorrow because today we are having a quant session. So let's go ahead with the quant section itself. So this is the content of exam, guys. There is no difference at all. I have very clearly mentioned what are the content of quants will have. Will have inequalities, absolute value, statistics, number system, coordinate. So geometry as a subject, as a chapter has been removed from the GMAT exam. There's a lot of doubts regarding coordinate geometry, that has coordinate geometry section been removed or not? But GMAT has very clearly told geometry as a section has been removed. But I don't want to take any risk at all. So we'll have one class of coordinate geometry also, and then you have arithmetic and PNC. So this is the entire section of a quant. We'll be starting our first class with the inequalities. It is supposed to be one of the trickiest chapter of the quant section. This is what we are going to start today. The reason I'm starting with inequality, guys, because if you're good with inequalities, your absolute value chapter would be taken care of. If you're good with inequalities and absolute value, your number system chapter can be taken care of. And GMAT as an exam has a very different love for algebra, I would say you. So if these are the 3 chapters that you are done with the 60% of quant. So I may 100% tell you that inequality is, this is one chapter that can a bit frustrate you, but you don't have to lose your patience at all. I'll try my best to deal as beautifully as I can, for sure. So this is the entire syllabus of your quant topic. That's all. We'll come to the verbal tomorrow. But before we go ahead, let's understand a bit of the exam structure as to what it is. So imagine there is one break that is allowed of 10 minutes. Either you take a break here or you take a break here. You can take just one break for sure. You cannot take more than one break. And the total time for the exam is 2 hours 15 minutes, including the break, 10 minutes break that you will be taking. But guys, there has been a big sort of a trap that has been introduced into the exam, a very big trap. So they say that you can bookmark and review as many answers as you want, but you can change only 3 answers. But please, this is why it is a trap, because please understand GMAT is a quant adaptive test. So I'll just show you one example over here. So this is a marks of one of my student who gave this exam. She has got 2 wrong. Can any one of you tell me what was the percentile in math? This is a math score. Out of 21 questions, he has got just 2 wrong. Question number 2 and question number 4. Rest all are right. Can anyone tell me what is the percentile she might have got?
81.
Absolutely. Anyone else?
Around 85 or something.
Imagine there's just 2 mistakes, guys, over here. Just 2 mistakes. That's all. This is one mistake and this is one mistake, and the percentile is 81. Please check over here. Now, the point is why it is 81, because please understand this is a question adaptive test. If you do question number 2 wrong, the ladder will fall. It might be you might have bookmarked this question that you will come later and review it. But the point is, because GMAT is a question adaptive test, you cannot go to the next question till you mark the answer. They have given you a chance to bookmark it. So let's say question number 2, you felt tough. You marked some answer and you have bookmarked this question saying that you will come back at the later point of time and look into this answer. But do you really feel it's feasible? No, because your entire question graph has gone down. So please be 100% sure, do not bookmark anything. At least in first 15 question, you should not try and bookmark anything at all. Absolutely no. Am I being very clear? You have to treat as a quant, it's a question adaptive test, and you have to go exactly in the same way. You are not supposed to bookmark any question. Be very sure, because technically if you bookmark this, you mark some answer, you have already, your graph, your ladder is already gone down. Or even if you come at the last and make it right for that sake, how does that matter? So this is a very big trap, I can tell you, in the exam that has happened right now. So you should not at all try and bookmark anything. Am I clear? Yes or no? Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. So now there's a bit of GMAT scoring pattern that I can explain you with. It need not be explained. I don't believe a lot on the scoring and all. It's all about that try doing a maximum number of questions right in the exam. That's all. Let's be very conservative. Let's not get into something which is absolutely not necessary. So the reason I'm just showing you this, because you should be aware about it. Like what happened over here, that GMAT focused edition, the total scoring is from 205 to 805. In the previous GMAT exam, it used to be 800 to 800. Right now, it is 200 to 805. So 645 is the new 700 right now. If you get, so you should try your best to ensure to get 730 plus, that is 675 plus. Because end of the day, the scholarship that you get into the colleges is directly proportional to the score that you have in exam. That's as simple as it is. Your scholarship that you get into the colleges is directly proportional to your GMAT score. So in no way you should try and get the score lesser than 730. 730 plus, you can be very sure that one good college, you will be getting 50% scholarship for sure. The reason I'm just trying to show you, because you should know 675 is new 730 now. So this is the score that we should be targeting, guys, for sure. 100%, nothing less than 635 for sure. Anyone, any problem? The scoring pattern, I'll anyway send it to you. You can go ahead and look into it. But now you see here, I'll just show it to you. So this was the, right now, out you get a score out of 90. So before it used to happen in quant, you will have a scale scoring out of 51. In verbal, you had a scale scoring out of 51. Now you have a scale scoring of 90 in quant, 90 in verbal, and 90 in DI. So what happens is that you will not get to know your individual score in GMAT, that out of math, what is the score that you have done in math? What is your score in verbal? What is score in data insights? This will not be known to you. All you will get to know out of 90. So you get 90 out of 90 in quant section. This means 100 percentile. If you get 89 out of 90, this means 97 percentile. If you get 88 out of 90, this means 94 percentile. So these are the percentile that is given to you. So what will be your exam scoring is that, let's say quant, you have got 89. That is 99 percentile. In verbal, you have got, let's say 80 and out of 90. And let's say in data insight sections, you have got 80 out of 90, whatever it is. So this is the scale scoring that will be given to you, and then they'll calculate the exact score that, let's say this scores to 765 out of 805. So you will not get to know what is your individual scoring in quant, verbal, and DI. You will get to know the scale scoring of quant, DI, and verbal, and later they'll give you the entire score. Am I clear? So I'm not too much interested into scoring and all. Absolutely no, because it's of no use. GMAT has never disclosed its scoring pattern at all. So why should we even go and predict what exactly is the scoring? Our job is simple, that get as many questions right in quant, as many questions right in verbal, as many questions right in data insight section. This is a normal thing that we should be concentrating on. Am I right? Anyone, any problem here? Any problem, any questions that
No,
you want
sir.
to understand regarding GMAT exam? Rushita, I think you had one question, right?
Yeah, so I do have.
So please understand, guys, there is one thing, that exam can be taken in home and exam can be taken in center as well. So please understand, you are not recommended to take the exam from home, because if you look into IIM ABC, they have straight away said that we will not be accepting the home GMAT score, because a lot of unwanted activities are going on, a lot many. So you are not expected that you go and do the exam from home. I know a lot of guys. There was a friend of mine, he was from IIT Delhi. He has scored from the home exam 760 and his score was rejected by the GMAT, saying that we have felt some suspicious practice in your room that you were giving the exam. So it is absolutely not recommended that you take exam from home. You should book a center to write your exam. It's as simple as it is. Rusita, is this clear?
Yeah, so clear.
Because IIM ABC has straight away given a notice saying that we will not be accepting the home GMAT exam. So if at all you are taking exam from home, these are the colleges that will not be expecting it for sure. And moreover, US college has not brought any sorts of a such notification, but it has been seen that if you write exam from home, even if you have a good GMAT score, they aren't calling you at all. So it is 100% most sincerely, respectfully requested that please take the exam from center. Do not take it at home at all. It is not recommended to you take your exam from the home. Am I clear? Anyone, any problem in the GMAT structure? Or should we go ahead and start math section? One? Anyone? Varsha? Chaitanya? Avinash? Rushita? Any
All clear,
problem here?
all clear, sir.
No,
Yeah.
doubt, all clear.
Perfect. So let's go ahead and start. Let's see.
One question. This is Giri.
Yep. Please tell me, Giri.
So you sent some videos to watch, yeah, and I went through all the videos, and the more videos I watch, the more I realize that there are more doubts I have. Yeah.
No, we'll go ahead today. We are starting the stuff now.
No, what I'm about to ask is that I know you will start from scratch and you will explain as much as possible, but will you give any practice questions? And if yes, then in one chapter, let's say inequalities, what can make a person proficient in terms of number of practice questions? Like how many, like what should the benchmark?
It all depends on the individuals, Giri. This is a very subjective questions, to be very frank. So imagine there is a guy who can be very, It's all about how you do the question. So in math questions, imagine. So what happens in quant question that let's say you are doing some 20 questions. You cannot come to me and say me, Rahul, out of 20, I did 16 right and 4 wrong. So you cannot be happy that you have done 16 right out of 20 questions. This is that there is nothing to be happy upon because these are the 16 questions that you deserve to do it right, Giri. And that's the reason you were able to do these questions right. The questions that you have got 4 wrongs, if you go and straight away look into the solution, then it means that you have wasted your entire practice. You have not learned anything out of it. So it's a very subjective question. It depends on individual to individual. The simple logic of doing maths is that while we are practicing math, while we are studying this, we should try our best not to look into the solution. The looking into the solution can be one of the most disaster thing that you can ever commit. So even if you solve 100 questions of inequality and ensure that you have taken as much time as it can, it doesn't matter at all. But if you have solved it by yourself, I think doing more than 100 questions. So technically with my experience, I can say you, Girish, irrespective of the experience you have, irrespective of the type of a student you are, who is good in math, not good in math, it doesn't matter at all. But technically 7 to 8 hours in one chapter is more than sufficient to have a complete understanding conceptually of that particular chapter. And rest all lies on how beautifully you go ahead and practice. That's it. Right?
Yeah, makes sense.
Any
Thank
problem
you.
here? So let's go ahead and start it. It's a very subjective question, Grace. We can 100% clear it. So the way we go ahead about it is that first we do inequality chapter in the class. And after inequality, I have put a chapter called absolute value. One second. After inequality, I have put a chapter called absolute value. So inequality and absolute value are technically the same chapter. Absolutely same chapter. So what I do is that I'll teach you inequalities and absolute value in the class. Once I'm done in the class, I'll give you a practice questions to solve with a very clear instruction that you should not be looking into the solutions. Once we do inequality in the class, I expect that conceptual understanding is 100% done. And then it all depends, Grace, how many questions, how you practice would make a difference. There is no certain type of a question number that I can say that, Grace, if you solve 100 questions, you will become really good in inequalities. There is nothing such thing at all that exists. Clear? Perfect. Let's go and start, guys. So in quant, the chapters that we will be discussing is, as I've said you, we are starting the first chapter with inequalities. This is the one of the trickiest chapter of quant, to be very frank, I'll tell you. But if you are good in this chapter, I can 100% ensure that you will be good with absolute value for sure. And if you're good with inequalities and absolute value, I can 100% ensure that you will be good with number system. And these 3 chapters, you are good, 60% of math is done. So inequality as a first chapter can be a bit daunting for sure, but have patience. I'll ensure that things are very clear to you. Right? Perfect. So let's go ahead and start chapter. I think enough of bhashans that I've gave about GMAT exam. So guys, there are 2 types of a question that can be asked into the quant from a quant section. The first one is called data sufficiency. Yuvraj, can you please put yourself on mute? Yajur Sharma, can you please put yourself on the mute? Perfect. So guys, there are 2 types of a question that are asked in the quant section. One is data sufficiency, one is problem solving. The difference here is that data sufficiency as a topic will be asked in your data insight section, but we'll be studying the data sufficiency chapter, which each of the quant chapter itself. Am I right? So before we go ahead and start the inequalities topic, I just wanted to give you a bit of sense as to what data sufficiency is. So we'll be starting with the DS concepts. So in data sufficiency, guys, there are 2 types of a question that are usually asked in the exam. One is called is type of a question. Another is called what type of a question. In is type of a question, confirm yes and confirm no. both are accepted answer. Now, what exactly do I mean by saying that in this type of a question, confirm yes or confirm no, both are accepted answer? And in what type of a question, you must have a unique numeric value as answer. That's it. So imagine how the data sufficiency questions will be asked to you. Like imagine the question is given, is x greater than 100? Option number 1 says x is greater than 60. Option number 2 says x is less than 90. So this is one question. This question is not complete. There are two statements given to you, statement number 1 and statement number 2. In data sufficiency, guys, what happens that you are not essentially trying to solve a question. All you are trying to do is that, can you actually solve this question with the help of statement number 1 and 2 or not? Simple logic. So imagine what happens is x, so you moment the question is x greater than 100, statement number 1 says x is greater than 60, statement number 2 says x is less than 90, and there are 5 options front of you, a, b, c, d, e. A says statement number 1 alone is sufficient to answer the question. B says statement number 2 alone is sufficient to answer the question. C says statement number 1 plus 2 are both combined sufficient to answer the question. D says statement 1 alone is sufficient and statement 2 alone is sufficient. E says none of these. So if I ask you a question, is x greater than 100? Statement number 1 gives me x is greater than 60. Statement number 2 gives me x is less than 90. If at all I have to mark answer in form of A, B, C, D, what would be the answer? Anyone, please?
D.
What is that? D. Yes.
D.
Okay. Anyone else?
D.
D verse. D. Okay.
Statement B, B for Bombay.
Ball. Okay. Chaitanya, answers. Harshita, answer please. Khyati, answer. Sanskriti.
D.
D for Delhi or B for Bombay?
Delhi. D. Delhi.
Okay.
None
Anyone
of
else?
these.
None of these E. Okay.
A.
Sudarshana. Khyati,
Yeah,
what
none
is
of
your
these.
answer?
A.
A. Okay.
My answer is none of these.
That's fine. Sarthak, what is your answer?
B.
Perfect. So see over here, it says you, the question is pretty simple. It says you, is x greater than 100? Option number 1 says x is greater than 60. If I say you x is greater than 60, can I say x can be 70? Yes or no? Which is less than 100. But if x is greater than 60, can I say x is 120? Yeah, which is greater than 100. So if you have a no situation and if you have a yes situation, while you are solving a is type of a questions of data sufficiency, you will say this statement is not sufficient to answer the question. Simple logic. My question was, what is x greater than 100? The statement number 1 says x is greater than 60. But if x is greater than 60, x can be 70 and x can be 200 as well. So when x is 70, it is less than 100. When x is 200, it is greater than 100. So I have a both yes and no situation with a statement number 1. So I say this statement is not sufficient to answer the question. It's straightforward. Now statement number 2 says what? X is less than 90. If x is less than 90, what do you understand from here? If x is less than 90, x can be 89, 88, 87 to all the way to negative infinity, yes or no? Yeah, right. So can I say from here it's a confirm no answer? Imagine, Harshita, if I ask, is your name Rahul? What's your answer? If I ask, is your name Rahul Khyati, what is your answer? No, right? And no is accepted answer. What I've told you in this type of a question, confirm yes or confirm no, both are accepted answer. Girish, is this clear? Rahul, is this clear?
Yeah.
So when I say you x is less than 90, This gives me a confirmed no answer saying that no, x is never greater than 100. Am I right? It is same as asking, is your name Rahul? That's all. Imagine if I give you questions to solve just based on this. So please understand, understanding this concept is pretty simple, very simple. But how should you use this concept while you're solving the problem? That's a place we need to ensure that we are very clear with it. So imagine if I ask you to solve one question, I think you might have solved if you have been through the videos. But please tell me one. So let's say question number 7. Please understand, guys, geometry is not the part of syllabus at all right now. Geometry is not the part of syllabus, but these are some questions which will give you a very beautiful understanding of how to approach a data sufficiency question. So before you get into question number 7, I'm just giving you one simple hint that let's say if this is a right angle triangle, let's say this is A, this is B, and this is C. When can I say this triangle is a right angle triangle? When the Pythagorean theorem is satisfied, that is AC square is equal to AB square plus BC square. That's one simple condition when you can say this is a right angle triangle. Imagine this is 3, this is 4, and this is 5. Can I say 5 square is equal to nothing but 3 square plus 4 square? That is 25 is equal to nothing but 9 plus 16. That is 25 is equal to 25. And that's the reason we say that a triangle with side 3, 4, 5 is a right angle triangle always. So just based on this simple logic, there's one question that I'm asking you to solve is question number 7. Can you please take 2 minutes for this? It's a moment you see one question and two statement, by default, it means it's a data sufficiency question. What's the answer?
C.
C. Okay. Anyone else?
C.
Anyone else? Kathy, your answer? Ankit, Chaitanya, your answers, please. Jana,
C.
Sapna, answers, please. Giri, answer. Rushita, answer. So see here, it says that the length of side AB is 17. Simple logic. And now it says you, is triangle ABC a right angle triangle? Option number 1 says BC is 144. Option number 2 says AC is 145. So option number 1 here says you, BC is 144. And option number 2 says you AC is 145. Now they're asking you, is this a right angle triangle? Yes or no? Simple, straightforward. Am I right? So for this triangle to be a right angle triangle, what you need? AC square should be equal to AB square plus BC square, right? Option number 1 says BC is 144. AC is given to you. This is AB is given to you. Sorry. This is 17 square plus this is 144 square. but we don't have AC from statement number 1. Do you really feel that is it sufficient to answer the question? Because you technically need to know the value of AC as well, right? So can I say this is not sufficient? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
And when you go into statement number 2, guys, in data sufficiency, the reason I'm making you solve all these questions because you understand DS very well. So the point is that when you get into statement number 2, you have to ensure that statement number 1 does not exist for you at all. With this logic, only you can go with statement number 2, else you can't go. So in statement number 2, what it says that AC is 145 square. But we are not sure about the BC from statement number 2. Am I right? Can I say this is a right angle triangle? Technically, BC is not known to you. So 100% not sufficient. Imagine if we combine all the statements that BC is 144, AC is 145. Then now can I say 145 square is equal to 17 square plus 144 square. Now what exactly did you conclude from here? Tell me.
They are both combined required.
On what logic, Sarthak? So did you go ahead and calculated it?
No, I didn't calculate.
Yeah, both the
I
sides are
think
coming out to be equal, so it is a right angle.
But did you
मतलब
calculate it,
है
Kyati?
या
Sorry?
नहीं है उससे मतलब नहीं है हमें, मतलब यस और नो आंसर मिल जाएगा हमें अगर साइड तीनों दे रखी है, या तो वो है या नहीं है, तो उससे सी
Absolutely.
आंसर ही मिलेगा.
Kyati, if I told you go ahead and calculate this, it means that you are not using the is concept well. Because if you try and calculate it, you will be 100% wasting 1 minute for sure. The least calculation that you can do is what 145 square minus 144 square is equal to 17 square. So that is 145 plus 144 into 145 minus 144. That is 289 is equal to 289. But technically, do you really need to do this over here, Shwati? Because imagine the value of 145 square is A. The value of 17 square plus 144 square is B. If I say you A is equal to B, what do you mean there, Shwati? Confirm yes answer, right? If either you get A is equal to B or you will get A is not equal to B. So if A is not equal to B, it's a confirm no answer. It's as simple as it is. So technically, this is a place where you should try avoiding your calculation. This is what is data sufficiency all about. Data sufficiency never want you to calculate anything at all. Absolutely no. If this is a place you can 100% come down to the answer and you can write directly C over here, this is a brilliant thing rather than going into the calculation. Am I right, Khyati? Is this clear?
Yes, understood.
Varsha, Ankit, is this clear? Girish,
Yes, sir.
Harshita, any problem here? Chaitanya, any problem?
No, all clear.
Perfect. Now imagine if I ask you to solve one simple question. Question number 6, if only statement number 1. I don't want you to go ahead and solve statement number 2 because statement number 2 is pure calculation. If you can use your logic, you can. But can we do statement number 1 with question number 6? Can you please tell this is sufficient or not sufficient? Can you do the calculations, please? Question number 6, only statement number 1 you need to look upon, not in statement number 2. You don't have to have any sorts of a background knowledge about this question, to be very frank. Nothing else at all is required. You just have to read the questions. You will by default will get to understand what we need to do. So you should not take more than 20 seconds in this question for sure. 100%. If you're taking more than 20 seconds, there's some mistake that you are doing.
Statement A is enough.
A is enough. A is the answer.
Absolutely, because it says here 1,000 is deposited in certain bank account and remains in the account with W incurred into the dollar amount of interest I earned by the deposit first 10 year. I is given as this to you, right? The deposit earns total of 210 interest in the first 2 years. So interest is I, it means I is given as 210 to you. N is given as 2 years to you. You will get the value of R for sure. You don't have to solve this question for sure. Absolutely no. If you're trying to solve, it's a disaster that you're committing. You will get the value of R. Imagine the value of R is less than 8%. You will have a confirm no answer from statement number 1, yes or no. Imagine the value
Yes.
of R is equal to 8%. You will still have a confirm no answer. Imagine the value of R is greater than 8%. You will have a confirm yes answer from here. So irrespective of it, you have the answer. So if you have understanding that you get value of R, you can straight away say option number A is sufficient for sure. I don't know option number 2 is sufficient or not. For that, we'll have to solve. But all I'm trying to say you, this is how you can apply a is concept. So is concept of data sufficiency is not just to understand that confirm yes and confirm no will be a sure short answer. The entire reasoning behind it is that you should understand how you are applying in the questions for sure. Am I right? Giri, is this clear?
Yeah, Rahul.
Sanskriti, Sapna, any problem here? Rushita, any problem?
No,
No,
no
so
problem.
yeah.
Varsha, any problem?
Sure.
Perfect. Can we do one more question, please? Is type. Can we do question number 1? Try question number 1. Terminating decimal means something that stops. 1/2 is terminating because 0.5. 1/3 is non-terminating because you get 0.3333. It's a non-stop. It doesn't stop at all. So can we try and do question number 1? You don't need any mathematical knowledge to do this question. It's all about its size type of a questions you have to take care of.
B.
B. What's that?
B for Bombay.
Karthik, wrong, I think. Please check.
C.
Okay. Okay. I shall take 2 minutes. Once try to do it in the paper. E Khyati, I think it's wrong. Because you have to combine and also see Khyati once.
Come again?
So you have to actually combine and check. Only then you can go to E. So question is pretty simple. Is P by Q a terminating decimal? Option number 1 says P is a factor of 100. Option number 2 says Q is a factor of 100. D. No. No, Rohini. So it says simple. Is P by Q a terminating decimal? Option number 1 says P is a factor of 100. Option number 2 says Q is a factor of 100. So if P is a factor of 100, what does this mean? That all the number that divides 100 and remainder is 0. I can say P can be 1, 2, 4, 5, 10, 20, 25, 50, and 100. These are the values that I can consider for P. So option number 1 says P is a factor of 100. You can choose any number. P is equal to 2. But I have no idea about Q. So I'll take, let's say Q is equal to 2. So P by Q is what? 2 by 2, that is 1. Terminating, I have a yes situation. So please ensure one thing very clearly, guys. Whenever you are trying to solve a is type of a question, Either you are trying to look into statement number 1 or statement number 2. Your entire job is to create a yes and no situation. If you can create it, the statement is not sufficient. If you can't create, then a statement is sufficient. If you have only yes situation or only no situation, a statement will be sufficient. So imagine I have taken one case where I have created a yes condition. Okay, this is a terminating decimal, but I can take other case. I'll imagine I have taken p is equal to 2. And from statement number 1, I have no idea about q whatsoever. I can take q any number. Let's say q is equal to 3. So p by q is what? 2 by 3. That is 0.6666. And it's a no situation. So statement number 1, I can say right now it is not sufficient just for the reason that I have got yes and no situation with statement number 1. Now statement number 2 says q is a factor of 100. So I can take 100%. Let's say q is a factor of 100. So if someone who has told option B and someone who has told option C as well, can you please, because if you are trying to say me answer is C, it means what? That the statement number is not sufficient for a certain reason and statement number 2 is not sufficient for a certain reason. Only then you are supposed to combine the statements. See, the logic of option C is that if statement number 1 alone is not sufficient, if statement number 2 alone is not sufficient, only then you should go ahead and combine. So if at all you who has told answer C, can you give me yes and no situation for option number B? Because when you are marking answer C.
So for we can take Q as 2 and P also 2, so we'll get a yes situation. But
Absolutely.
we can take in a fraction also. So when we take it in a fraction way, then we'll get a non.
Absolutely. That's a brilliant thing because please understand, guys, it is not mentioned to you in the question that if P and Q are integers. So this is a place I think you went wrong, Sarthak. It is not mentioned in the question that P and Q are integers. So you might have taken all the integral value only, Sarthak.
Yes, yes.
So imagine if I take P as 1 by 3 and Q as 2, what do I get? P by Q as 1 by 6. And this is a non-terminating, no situation. And that's the reason I say statement number 2 is not sufficient. Am I right? If it would be given that if P and Q are integer, then your answer would have been B for sure. If it was given to you, if P and Q are integer, but this is not given to you in the question. So this is how GMAT questions are framed, guys, that you know everything that what you are doing is right, but you might get wrong and you will have no realizations at all. Now imagine in this case, considering that this statement is not given to us in the question, so we are free to take P and Q anything. And I've created a no situation for option number B. But now when I combine, say P is equal to Q is equal to all these numbers. Now tell me, if you take any of these numbers P by Q, you will always get a yes situation. You will always get a terminating decimal. You can please check and tell. Kathy, I don't think so you did this option. See? You straight away went to E.
Yeah.
Because if you take any of the number now, considering option number 1 is not sufficient, option number 2 is not sufficient, so we have to once combine and check it. So now you take any value, you will get C as an answer. But if in question, it might have been mentioned that if P and Q are integer, then your answer would go to B. It's straightforward logic. Agreed? So this is all about is type of a question, guys. That your entire job in is type of a data sufficiency question is why we are doing data sufficiency, because usually a lot of DS problem comes from the algebra. And now that particular questions will be asked in sections of DI. That's the only difference. In quant, you'll have a problem solving only. But with every chapter, we'll do DS plus problem solvings, both in the quant. Now, the next question is type is what we have done it. So in data sufficiency, there is only two possibilities. Either the questions could be framed of is type, or the second frame could be of what type question. Simple, straightforward logic. And in what type of a question, we get unique numeric value as an answer. So imagine if I've simple given you a question, what is the value of x? Option number 1 says x square is equal to 36. And option number 2 says x is greater than 3. Can you tell me the answer? Quick, please. Because please understand, in what type of a question, you must have a unique numeric value as an answer. So option number 1 says what? X can be plus 6 or minus 6, right? We have two values. So I can say statement number 1 is not sufficient. Am I right? Option number 2 says x is greater than 3. It could be 4, 5, 6 to any value till infinity. I can say even this statement is not sufficient. But now when you combine this statement, what happens? X can be plus 6 or minus 6. And statement number 2 says x is greater than 3. So if you combine this, what exactly you get? Do you get x is equal to 6? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
So C is your answer. This is what type of a question? Simple. So there could be only two framing of the question that you can see from data sufficiency is type and what type. Whatever the question is, you can 100% differentiate whether it's a is type of a question or what type of a question. So later when we go ahead and do the inequality chapter, I'll also tell you there are two structures of a question that could be asked from data sufficiency. The one is where some information is given to you in the question. The other is when it's a direct question, how should you approach? When it's a direct question, how should you approach when there is some information given to you in the question? But that will come down to a later part. Before that, I'll give you one question. Can you please solve question number 4? Please take your time. Don't mark answer out of rush. Don't mark answer out of rush. You can take your time to solve question number 4. Take 2 minutes, please.
Which question, Rahul, it is?
Question number 4.
Okay.
Jonna bought only 0.15 stamps.
B.
Who's that?
Chaitanya.
Okay. Rahul C. Okay.
C.
Okay.
C.
Okay,
C.
Ankit. So do you really feel, guys, GMAT will give you such a easy question, two statement, two equation, and they'll ask you to find the value of x and y? So my dear people, see, it's a seed trap question. It's a seed trap questions, and I'll prove it right now. So this is seed trap problem. In whatever questions you are trying to solve in GMAT, and within a second you realize that answer is C. 99.9% it will not be C for sure. So it says what? Jonna bought 0.15 stamp and 0.29 stamp. So let's say there was X number of 0.15 stamp that C bought and Y number of 0.29 stamps he bought. The question comes, how many 0.15 stamp did C buy? The question is, what is value of X? Simple, straightforward logic. Now, option number 1 says X is equal to Y. Option number 2 says what? So obviously this is not sufficient. Option number 2 says what? C bought 4.40 worth of stamps. It means what? 0.15x plus 0.29y is equal to 4.40. So what people do over here, they even don't feel like evaluating statement number 2. And they see that two equations, two variables. So obviously when you combine, you will get the value of x and y and you will mark answer C over here. Am I right? But do you really feel GMAT will give you such a easy questions up now? Where you see two variables, two equations and you mark answer C? No, right? So question here is simple. Option number 1 says x is equal to y. Option number 2 says 0.15x plus 0.29y. 0.15x plus 0.29y is equal to 4.40. So did you people try evaluating this? Imagine if question would be statement number 1, x is equal to y. Statement number 2, x plus y is equal to 10. Now this is a place where you will 100% try and evaluate. Ki Rahul, x can be 9, y can be 1. X can be 8, y can be 2. X can be 7, y can be 3. Moment you get two different values of x, you can say this statement is not sufficient, right? And now because you know statement number 1 is not sufficient, statement number 2 is not sufficient, so you go ahead and combine and check whether you will get the answer by combinations or not. But the one who told answer C, did you actually check with statement number 2 what are the two values of x and y which will give you 440? Tell me. Did you even try to check this, or you straight away combined it? Because end of the day, this statement is not sufficient. And you will go ahead with the combination part when you are 100% sure option number 2 is also not sufficient. Am I right? These are the normal things that are tested in data sufficiency. Once you are known with all these tricks in data sufficiency, you will never do a mistake for sure. So my simple logic is whoever has told answer C, can you actually tell me what are the two values of x and y you got from here, which led you to say that this statement is not sufficient? And because this is not sufficient only, then you go and combine, or else you can't combine. If you can answer the questions alone with statements 1 and 2 alone, then C is never a possibility at all, because C as a possibility is only given to you when you are 100% sure that you cannot answer the question with help of statement number 1, and you can't answer the question with the help of statement number 2. When you are 1000% sure about it, only then you go ahead and combine the statements, else no. So please tell me, whoever have told answer C, what are the two values that you have got with option number B and you felt that it is not sufficient? Because technically, if you try and look into this equation, 15x plus 29y is equal to 440. If you put x as 10, y as 10, only then you get 440. There is no other value of x and y which will give you 440. So here I am forced to mark answer B and not C. So please understand, now what I'm trying to say you is no logic, is no concept. It is purely my observation. Some people call it as a shortcuts also. So imagine if such equations are given to you and there is one prime number in the equation. Usually there is only one value of x and y which will satisfy this equation. No other value will satisfy at all. Now this is purely my observation. There is no other way except doing a hit and trial method. Be very sure about it. There is no other way to check the value of x and y except doing a hit and trial method. But I can tell you with my observations how many questions of such type I have solved. If there is one prime number, usually there is only one value of x and y which will give you this. And that's the reason we'll mark answer B and not C. And please be 100% sure in GMAT, if you do easy question wrong, guys, the penalty is huge. And you might have 100% understood with this itself. Just imagine 2 questions wrong and the percentile is 81. In the classic GMAT exam, if you do 2 questions wrong, you used to get 51 percentile. And this entire logic is behind, if you try and bookmark your answer, you are screwed up royally. So do not at all bookmark. Bookmark is a humongous trap. In first 121 question, the 21 question that you have, first 15 questions, you should avoid bookmarking at all, completely. It's better you spend some more time, get the answer right. Do not mark something and bookmark it and go to the next question, because bookmarking is a huge trap what GMAT has introduced. They are trying to play around with you, nothing else at all. So in GMAT, if you do easy questions wrong, the penalty is huge, and that's what it is. That you have got 2 questions wrong, your percentile is 81 out of 100. Just imagine. It's not a good thing. So GMAT penalizes you very heavily if you do easy questions wrong. So if at all in exam you have got answer in 20 seconds, your job is to wait till 1 minute, review your answers, and only then go ahead with the next question. Do not simply go ahead with the next question, because see, exactly, I'll give you exactly the same type of a question. Can we do question number 12, please? Exactly on the same similar type.
B.
Perfect. Anyone
B.
else?
B.
Perfect, Sarthak. Anyone else?
B.
Perfect, yes. Ankit, Bhaskari, Chaitanya. Chaitanya, you've told the answer.
Option B, Rahul.
Perfect, Rahul. Yes, Bhaskari, you're supposed to answer. Why not? So see here, it simple says, Martha bought several pencils. Martha bought several pencils. If each pencils was either a 23-cent pencil, means let's say X number of 23-cent pencils he bought and Y number of 21-cent pencils he bought. How many 23-cents pencil means what is the value of X? It's a what type of a question? Every DS questions can be classified just into two types. Either it's a its type or it's a what type. So it says Martha bought total of 6 pencils. It means X plus Y is equal to 6. Simple, straightforward logic. Now, X can be 5, Y can be 1, X can be 4, Y can be 2, and you will get 6 over here. Moment I've got two different value of X, I can say statement number 1 is not sufficient. Because the logic behind what type of a question is that you should get a unique numeric value. That's it. Option number 2 says the value of pencil Martha bought was 130 cent. That is nothing but 23X plus 21Y is equal to 130. Now here, please ensure that just don't look into these two equations and mark answer C. That will be a big disaster that you will do, because before you mark answer C, before you are trying to combine these two equations, you will have to tell me with a very valid reason as to why this statement is not sufficient. And I have just told you that if there is one prime number, let's say there's a prime number, 23 is a prime number. 23 is a prime number. So 100% this will yield only one value. And in exam, please be very sure the value, because GMAT is not a calculative exam, guys. If you are doing 589 into 749, any place, you have to ensure that you stop immediately. This is not something that you are expected to do in GMAT at all. There is no hardcore calculation required in GMAT exam. It's purely logical. I'll come down to the inequalities and you see it. So imagine here, these are the small number which you can actually do it for yourself. Let's say if I put here, it is 2. So 3 to the 6, 2 to the 4. Now to get 0 over here, I need Y as 4, the unique digit as a 4. So if I put Y as 4, do I get what I get? 4 1s are 4, 4 2s are 8. This is 130. So except for X is equal to 2 and Y is equal to 4, do you think any other value can give you 130? And a lot of people tell me, Rahul, what if I take a fractional value? Do you actually think pencil can be fractional? Pencils are number. You have either 1 pencil, 2 pencil, 3 pencil, 4 pencil. You can't have 1.2 pencil or 1.5 pencil or 1.4 pencil. Absolutely not possible, right? So it need not be stated in the question over here that it's an integral value. Number of pencils by default are integral value. That's as simple as it is. Am I right? Anyone, any problem? Sapna, is this clear? Varsha, Ruchita, any problem? So answer to this question should be B, because there's only one value of X and Y which will give you 130. Kathy, is this okay?
Yes. Yes, Rahul.
So this is all that I wanted to discuss with you. That what are S type of a question, what are the what type of a question. Simple, straightforward logic. That's the reason I take 45 minutes to make you understand how to approach a data sufficiency question. Because right now, in the entire maths chapter, we'll have a lots of DS questions as well as a problem solving question. That's a place you should not ask me, Rahul, why C, why not B? If you have got answers B, if you have got answer C, and the actual answer tells you that it is B, it means you are wrong. It means that you didn't try to create a yes and no situation for option number B. Whatever situations you try to create, you just got either a yes or a no situation. So be very clear with, if statement number 1 is sufficient, A is for statement number 1 alone sufficient, B is for statement number 2 alone sufficient. If you are 100% sure that 1 and 2 cannot, these two are not sufficient, only then you go with C. C says statement number 1 plus 2. But the logic behind C is that if you are 100% sure that statement number 1 is not sufficient, statement number 2 is not sufficient, only then you should go to C. If you directly go to C and statement number 1 and B alone are sufficient, then your answer is wrong, because the entire reasoning of yours is flawed in that case. The reasoning says that try to solve a question with the help of statement number 1 first. If you can, it is sufficient. If you cannot, go to statement number 2. If you can solve the questions with the statement number 2, this is not this, then that is sufficient. But if both are not sufficient, you are not able to solve the question with the help of 1 and 2, only then you are supposed to combine. And if combination also can't solve the question, then you mark your answer. D says what? Statement 1 alone is sufficient and statement 2 alone is sufficient. And E says none of this. This question cannot be solved with the help of statements. Yes, Bhaskari, please tell me.
Okay. In the pencil question, Martha buying a pencil question where we had a prime number and all of that. So in that question, I just had this doubt even while going through the material. Suppose it was not a pencil, or it was, say, Martha is buying some kind of grocery or some kind of vegetable, and where you can
Oh, that
fractions can be introduced, right?
that
It
then
can-
that question they will not frame only this question in that way.
It won't come like that.
No,
that
never,
way.
never, never.
So
never.
so if it does, then it will become C, right? The option becomes changes.
Then you will have to check. You will have to check. The point is you mark C when you are 100% sure that statement number 2 is not sufficient. And why? Because it's a word type of a question. Statement number 2 is not sufficient because you have two different values of X. That's as simple as it. Agreed?
Exactly. Okay.
And the same logic, because here you see what here, Bhaskari, Martha bought 6 pencil, means X plus Y is equal to 6.
6, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
X value of X can be 5 and 1. Value of X and Y could be 4 and 2. So we have two different values. So I straight away said this is not sufficient. The point is you have to ensure that you get two different values of X and Y with whatever the question is framed in whatever way. That doesn't matter at all. But the logic says you say it not sufficient when you have two different values of X. That's all.
All right.
Anyone, any problem here? Anyone till now what we have done? Because now we'll be starting inequality, guys. So please tell me if anyone has any problem. Varsha, Ankit, Chaitanya, any problem till now? Giri? Sapna, any problem? Saras?
No, no problem.
Absolutely. Sarthak, any problem? Zaina? Swati, any problem?
All clear.
Perfect. Then let's
Understood,
go
sir.
ahead and start inequalities, guys. Now it's one of the most intriguing, I would say, very interesting chapter. It's just that you have to be very clear with the basic concepts. And I trust me, if this is one chapter that you are clear with, right at the conceptual level, I can promise your entire math will be good. That is one thing I can 100% promise you, because this is a chapter which gives you a lots of thought process. Lot. It is not only this particular chapter, because this chapter is directly related to absolute value. And these two chapters are directly related to number system. So I can 100% sure that if you are not good with inequalities, absolute value is gone 100%. And if these two chapters are gone, number system is gone. And if you are not good in algebra while you are preparing for GMAT exam, there is no point of preparing them. It's as simple to say as it is. Sounds rude in listening, but that's true, guys. That's very true. So please try and understand. And this is one chapter which does not test you on any formula. It's all logic. The reason why GMAT love giving you question based on numbers, because please understand this is exam that is structured for the people as young as BCom second year graduates or BBA second year graduates or final year engineering graduates take this. And as old as 43 years, 44 years, 45 years, people take this exam. The reason behind GMAT as exam is very logical, just because the way this exam is structured that anyone can take it. Because for taking this exam, you don't have to get into the contents of a chapter. Like let's say when you go and prepare for a CAT is a very content based exam. You have to study a lot, lots of formulas and all needs to be remembered. But in GMAT, I can tell you if there is 21 questions that are asked in quant, and if there are 10 questions of DS that is asked in DI section, there will not be one single question for which you need any formula. I can guarantee you this. And if you know that, it's good for you. It's nothing bad if you know it. But even if you don't know it, you will be able to solve all the questions very properly. So let's come down to this chapter, inequality. So in inequality, guys, what happened? The first thing is that signs of variables are extremely important. What do I mean by saying signs of variables are very important? I'll just explain it to you. Variables are very important. But what exactly this mean? So imagine when I write minus x, or I write minus y, or I write minus z, or I write minus xy. So minus x doesn't mean that x is negative. Please ensure, understand this. Minus y does not means that y is negative. Minus z does not means minus z is negative. No. Please ensure, if there is no explicit information given to you and they have just written minus x, it means that, guys, these two are two different elements. These are very small things, and in complex problem, when your mind stops working just because of these small reasons that you don't think in this aspect. Minus x never means x is negative. These means these are two different elements. I have no idea about what is the sign of x. If x is positive, let's say x is equal to 10, then minus x will become minus 10. But imagine if x is negative, let's say x is equal to negative 20, then minus x will become negative of negative 20, that is 20. So please just understand in this way that negative x doesn't give you a right to conclude that x is negative. It means that negative is a separate element, x is a separate element. Negative is here is a separate element, y is a separate element. Y could be positive, could be negative. So about variables in the question, I'll ensure that you understand XYZ very clearly. About variables, what we need to understand that until there is explicit information given to you in the question, that if x is positive, or if x is negative, or if y is positive, y is negative, you are not supposed to assume anything from your end. Your assumptions should be always in both the direction, that if x is positive, what could happen? If x is negative, what could happen? If there is no information given to you. And normally informations are not given to you. So minus x simple means that x and negative are two different elements. It doesn't mean the x is negative. And same logic goes for this y. Negative xy means what? You have no idea. You cannot say it means xy is negative. No, negative is an independent element. X is an independent element. Y is an independent element. I have no idea about the sign of x. I have no idea about the sign of y. So until I don't know what is the sign of x, what is the sign of y, I cannot conclude that negative xy means xy is negative. That's a wrong conclusion. You have to very clearly understand what is the value of x. Value of x could be positive or could be negative. What is value of y? That could be positive or negative. So everything should be very well and clearly understood to you. Only then you go ahead and conclude anything. Here, this simple means that these three are separate elements given to you. Now imagine if I'm just writing it over here, xy greater than 0. What do you mean with this in terms of sign? Your first logic in algebra, whenever you see any variables, just try to understand that are you aware about the sign of that variable or not? When I say are you aware about the sign of variable, simple means that whether that particular variable is positive or negative is known to you, yes or no. So when I say xy greater than 0, what can you conclude? Can I say ki x and y both are of same sign? X and y both are of same sign? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Because it is 2 cross 2, that is greater than 0. Or minus 2 cross minus 2, that is greater than 0. Simple, straightforward logic, right? Now, if I say you xy less than 0, what do you mean by this? Can I say x and y both are of opposite sign? Can I say this?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
it is minus 2 cross 2, that is less than 0. Or you can say 2 cross minus 3, that is less than 0. Simple, straightforward logic. Am I right? Now, imagine I twist it a bit. If I say you x minus a into x minus b greater than 0, what do you mean by this? Imagine I give you expression x minus 10 into x minus 20 greater than 0. What do you mean by this? What exactly this means? Can you please tell me what do you mean by x minus 10 into x minus 20 greater than 0?
It is
X
a
minus
positive
10
X is
and
number.
x
X is
minus
less than
20
A
are
and X is greater
greater
than B.
than 0.
Agreed. Anyone else?
X is
X
less than
minus
A
10
and
and x minus 20 are of same sign.
That's a diplomatic answer. Tell in terms of x.
They both are greater than 0, which is positive. Both the values are positive.
X is greater than 10 and x is smaller than minus 20.
No.
Now, can you hear me?
X is
Yeah.
greater
can.
than 20 and X is less than 10.
X is less than 10 or x is greater than 20. This is the right one, Chaitanya. Check. So please understand, guys. Now, when I say you this x minus a into x minus b greater than 0 simple means that x is either less than a or x is greater than b. I'll explain it to you. Please understand one thing for sure, that this is no formula where a is always a smaller element and b is a bigger element. Simple, straightforward logic. When you say x minus a into x minus b greater than 0, simple means x is less than a or x is greater than b. A is always a smaller element, b is a bigger element. So if I compare it with this, when I say x minus 10 into x minus 20, exactly, is this exactly in the same form? Yes or no? Yes, right? So which is the smaller element out of 10 and 20? 10. So x is less than 10 or x is greater than 20. But what do you mean by this? X is less than 10 or x is greater than 20? What exactly is this? This is nothing but solution of this equation. Now, what do you mean by solution of an equation? Imagine when I say you x square is equal to 36. That means x is equal to plus 6 or minus 6, right? So when I say you x square is equal to 36, x is equal to plus 6 or minus 6, what exactly is this? These are a solution of equation. And what do you mean by solution of equation? When you place this back into the equation, you will see LHS is equal to RHS. When you put 6 over here, x square is what? 36 is equal to 36. When you put minus 6 over here, what is this? Minus 6 square is nothing but 36 is equal to 36. So when I say you this is solution of equation, it simple means you put any value of x that is less than 10. You put it in this equation and this entire equation should suffice for sure. So imagine I take a value of x less than 10. Let's say x is equal to 5. 5 minus 10 is what? Negative 5. 5 minus 20 is negative 15. Minus 5 into minus 15 is greater than 0. Or you put any value of x greater than 20, this equation should suffice. Imagine I put 25. 25 minus 10 is what? 15. 25 minus 20 is what? 5. 15 into 5 is greater than 0. So please understand, guys, this is no formula that I'm asking you to remember. This is how we solve an equation. I'll solve this equation. But the point is, if at all a equation is in terms, if at all a equation is in a format of x minus a into x minus b greater than 0, you are not supposed to solve the equation. You can directly write your solution. If at all you want to solve this, let's solve this. Imagine x minus 10 into x minus 20 greater than 0. So let's say this is a and this is b. Now I have ab greater than 0. It means what? A and b are of same sign. So I'll have to take two cases. Case 1. If a is greater than 0, that is if x minus 10 is greater than 0, then b should be greater than 0. That is x minus 20 should be greater than 0. Am I right? So if x is greater than 10, then x should be greater than 20. Just represent them on number line. This is 10, this is 20. X is greater than 10. And x is greater than 20. So the common value is what? X is greater than 20. Simple, straightforward logic. What is case 2? That if x minus 10 is less than 0, then x minus 20 is also less than 0. Because case 2, there are two cases. AB greater than 0 means what? Either a is positive and b is positive, or a is negative and b is negative. So in this case, x minus 10 is less than 0. X minus 20 has to be less than 0. So if x is less than 10, then x should be less than 20. Simple, straightforward logic. Imagine this is 10 and this is 20 over here. X is less than 10. Can I say this? Am I right? And it says x is less than 20. So what are the common values? X less than 10. So please understand, every time you get a question, you don't have to do this. Case 1, case 2. Absolutely no. If at all you find, because we have got exactly the same thing after solving, right? So do you really want to solve it always? No, because they have actually generalized the solution completely. So imagine if they put here x minus a into x minus b greater than 0. Ensure that the format should be same. this negative and this A are two different elements. This is not negative A and negative B. This negative and this B are two different elements. If you get any expressions in such form, you can close your eyes and say x is less than A or x is greater than B. You don't have to go and start solving this every time. Please understand. So imagine if it is given to you x minus 10 into x plus 15 greater than 0. So first of all, tell me, is this exactly in the same form? Yes or no? So first of all, you have to convert it into this form. So that is nothing but x negative 10 into x negative of negative 15 greater than 0. Now can you tell me, is this in this form or not? X minus A and x minus B. And what I've told you, A is always a smaller element. So between 10 and minus 15, which is smaller?
Minus 50.
So you can directly write your solution. X is either less than negative 15 or x is greater than 10. You don't have to go and start doing all these things that A is greater than 0, B will be greater than 0, and then plot on a number line. You will exactly get the same thing. So why should you do that headache? Why should you take that headache at all? You can straight away write x less than negative 15 or x greater than 10. This is actually a solution of this equation. Now you put any values over here, this will satisfy. Varsha, is this making sense? Roshita?
Yes, sir.
Any problem here? Roshita, Shwati?
No,
Is
no,
this-
no.
Is this clear? Ankit, any problem?
No.
Sapna, any problem? Zana, any problem here? Saras?
No, sir. Understood.
Perfect. So the
no.
next comes as, imagine if x minus A into x minus B is less than 0. What do you mean by this? Can I say x lies between A and B? So imagine if I give you simple logic that x minus 5 into x minus 10 less than 0. Can I say x lies between 5 and 10? Tell me over here. Yeah. Now you don't have to worry at all. This is a solution of an equation. You just have to put back into the equation and check whether it is satisfying for all the values, yes or no. Please check. It is satisfying. Put any value now between 5 and 10. Let's x is equal to 6. 6 minus 5 is what? Negative 1. 6 minus 5 is positive 1. 6 minus 10 is negative 4. This is less than 0. That's all. Agreed? Anyone, any problem over here? Please tell. Sarthak, is this clear? Kati, any problem here?
Clear.
No.
Sapna,
clear.
any problem here? So imagine I'm just giving you one equation. X plus 10 into x plus 20 less than 0. Now, what do I mean of x? What do I mean by x plus 10 into x plus 20 is less than 0? It is 100% exactly in the same form. Just convert it. So take negative of negative 10 into x negative of negative 20, which is less than 0. Now, you just have to check that negative 10 and negative 20, which is the least value? Negative 20. So x lies between A and B. A is the least value, that is minus 20 and minus 10. This is the solution of equation, and this is no formula at all. Please understand. This is absolutely no formula. This is how you solve. Here you will have to go ahead and solve. That take this as A and take this as B. AB less than 0 means what? Two cases. Case 1, if A is negative, B has to be positive. Case 2, if A is positive, B has to be negative. But you don't have to go in that way at all. You can 100% ensure that if you see any structure of the equation in this particular format or greater than format, you can straight away write the generalized form. That's it. So imagine if I give you a question, it's not a question. Imagine if I say x square greater than x. Can you please tell me what is your understanding from here? Just try to understand the language of math. What is your understanding from here? Please tell me. All I'm trying to ask you, when is the condition possible? When is this condition possible?
When x has a value of
X is greater than 1.
Absolutely. But if you say only greater than 1, it means again you have not considered a negative value.
I mean, yeah, I mean, X is greater than 1 and less than -1.
Why less than minus? Even for -1, it will happen. Should be less than 0, no? Because for -1
Yes,
also, if you
yes,
put x is equal to -1,
yes, yes.
LHS is greater than RHS. So it's pretty simple, guys. If any expression is given to you, you are not supposed to bother over there. You just have to have a simple understanding in your head when is the condition possible. In more simpler term, for what value of x this is possible. And if nothing is happening, let's say you have got complete blank, then it's better to solve this equation. Simple logic. Just solve. So if I have to solve this equation, how do I solve? X square greater than x. Can I cut this and this and say x is greater than 1? Is this right or wrong?
I'm not good.
It is 100% wrong. Why? Because it is absolutely not stated to you in the question that x is positive. Until it is explicitly told to you in the question that x is positive, only then you can cut the variables, that is you are dividing, and only then you can cross multiply. So x square greater than 1. This is only right when it is explicitly mentioned to you in the question that variable is positive. If it is not mentioned, you are not supposed to cross multiply and divide. Absolutely no. So here you can't do it because it is not given to me x is positive. It is just told to solve this equation. That's all. And the equation given to you is x square greater than x. That's all. So you cannot at all afford to go ahead and cut the stuff. So, but you can always transpose the variable from one side to other side. Whatever the equation may be, it doesn't matter whether it be an equality equation or it be a normal equal to equation. It doesn't matter at all. You can always transpose the variable. The point is here, even if it is given to you, x is equal to x. Can you cut this and say x is equal to 1? Do you think it is right? No, this is wrong. Because x square is equal to x for x is equal to 0 value also. And if you cut it, you are trying to eliminate the value of 0. So please understand when you are solving any variable equations, if it is not explicitly mentioned to you in the question that x is positive or negative, y is positive or negative, you are not supposed to cut because even this is wrong. What value you have got x is equal to 1, this is wrong. Technically, you should get x is equal to 0 also because when I put 0 into the equation, LHS is equal to RHS. Am I right? So how do I solve this? It's a normal thought process over here that I'll transpose the variable that is x square minus x greater than 0. That is nothing but x into x minus 1 that is greater than 0. So let's say this is A and this is B. And I'm telling you AB is greater than 0. What does this mean? And A, can I write A as nothing as x minus 0 and B as x minus 1 greater than 0? Don't you feel this is exactly in the same format that we studied right now? It means that x is either less than 0 or x is greater than 1. Don't you feel? Anyone, any problem? And this is what we have thought. When I asked you, when is this condition possible? When I asked you, when is this condition possible? Your answer was exactly the same. X should be greater than 1 or x should be less than 0. When you put any value x less than 0 or you put any value x greater than 1, this equation will suffice. X square for these particular values will be greater than x. Am I right? Anyone, any problem over here? And exactly in the same way, if I say you x square is less than x, what does this mean? Can I say you x square minus x is less than 0? That is x cross x minus 1 is less than 0. And this x is nothing but x minus 0 into x minus 1 less than 0. That is x minus a into x minus b less than 0 means x lies between 0 and 1. So for all the values that x lies between 0 and 1, x square is less than x for sure. Am I right? This is a normal thing. I can also ensure you that when you have these expressions in your question paper, you should have just one simple thought process. When is the condition possible? When is the condition possible, or for what values of x this condition is possible? Because question, if at all they want you to take a value that of x that lies between 0 and 1, they will not directly give this for sure. They will 100% give you this expression. You have to have a by default understanding that this expression will only suffice for the values of x that lies between 0 and 1. Am I right? Any problem here? Anyone? Any problem, Khyati? Any problem?
No.
Sarthak?
Clear.
Perfect. Can I twist it a bit? If I say you xq is greater than x. Now I'm asking you to solve this and let me see what expression you get. Please get the expression by solving. Don't remember it. Can you please solve this xq greater than x?
X is greater than 1.
X is greater than 1.
Between -1 and 1.
What, Giri?
Between -1 and 1.
No. If you put half, then half q is greater than half. Yeah. No. Between minus and 1, x is equal to half will also come, right? If you put half q, do you think it is greater than half? No. So it won't. That's wrong.
X
X
is
is greater
one.
than -1.
X is greater than -1. That will include half also again.
X is greater than 1 and value of x is between -1 and 0.
Yep. So perfect. Let's solve this. So imagine if I'm trying to solve this, and I'll be using exactly the same thing that we have done till now. I'm not going to use anything else at all. So xq minus x is greater than 0, right? If I take x common, what happens? I get x square minus 1 greater than 0. Now let's say this is A and this is B. I don't want to simplify further right at this place because x square minus 1 can be simplified in way x minus 1 into x plus 1, and we'll have again 3 cases, A, B, C greater than 0. But I don't want to get into that trouble at all. I'll just take it here itself. Now this is A and B. Now I'll take two cases. Case 1. If AB greater than 0 means what? AB, sign of AB can be both positive, sign of AB can be both negative. So case 1, all I'm trying to say that if x is greater than 0, that is if A is greater than 0, then x square minus 1 should be greater than 0. Simple logic. And what do I mean by x square minus 1 should be greater than 0? That is x minus 1 into x plus 1 should be greater than 0. And x minus 1 into x minus b greater than 0. What does this mean? This means that x is less than -1 or x is greater than +1. Am I right? Yes or no? Anyone, any problem here? Please tell me. Anyone, any problem in this place? Rushita, is this clear? Varsha, Sapna, any problem here?
No. No,
Clear?
no. Yeah.
Bhaskari, clear?
Yep. Yes,
So
yes.
now you see, it says x is greater than 0. There are 3 cases that we have got. X greater than 0, x less than -1, and x greater than +1. Let's plot it on a number line. We have 0, we have -1, we have +1. So x greater than 0. This is 1. Second says x is less than -1. No common value. X is greater than +1. There is a common value. It means x is greater than 1 is one common value. What I have got from case 1, it means that you take any number x greater than 1 and you put it over here. You will see this equation will suffice. You put 2, 2q is greater than 2. You put 3, 3q is greater than 3. You put 4, any number greater than 1, xq has to be greater than x. But this was case 1. That if A is positive, B is positive. Now I'm taking case 2 from here. That if A is negative, B is negative. So what is my case 2? That if x is less than 0, that is this, that's my A. My B should be also less than 0. That is x square minus 1. X square minus 1 should be less than 0. That is nothing but x minus 1 into x plus 1 should be less than 0. X minus 1 into x plus 1 less than 0, it means what? Can I say x lies between -1 and 1? Anyone, any problem over here? Please tell. I'm doing nothing. I'm just doing x minus a into x minus b less than 0. I've converted x plus 1 in form of x minus b. That is x negative of -1. So this conversion I've simple done here. That is x minus a into x negative of negative 1 less than 0. And then I have written here x lies between negative 1 and 1. Varsha, any problem here?
No, sir.
So now I have two situations. X is less than 0. X lies between negative 1 and 1. Let's plot it on a number line. Let's say this is 0. This is negative 1. This is positive 1. So x is less than 0. This is right. X lies between negative 1 and 1. So what is my common value? X lies between negative 1 and 0. Simple, straightforward logic. So I've got two values. X greater than 1, x lies between negative 1 and 0. What does this technically means? So it's simple. If xq is greater than x, it means that x will be greater than 1 or x will lie between negative 1 and 0. Simple, straightforward logic. There should be no confusion at all. It simple means that this particular equation will only suffice for the value when x is greater than 1 or it will suffice for the value when x is between negative 1 and 0. Agreed, Kathy?
राहुल एक बार तो ऊपर जाएंगे आप प्लीज
100%. Where?
ये यहाँ पे जब आपने x लेस देन 0 लिया है
हाँ.
तो ये -1 और 1 के बीच में कैसा है ये वैल्यू इसकी
No, if x is less than 0, then b should also be less than 0. These are the cases I have
Yeah.
taken. This is
Yeah,
two
yeah,
cases, right?
yeah.
So if a is positive, b is positive. If a is negative, b is
Yeah.
negative. So that's why I have written x square minus 1 is less than 0. That means x minus 1 into x plus 1 is less than 0, right? And x minus 1 into x plus less than 1 less than 0 means what, Giri? Can I say x lies between negative 1 and 1?
Yeah. Okay.
That's all after. Clear? Am I right, Giri? Any problem?
Yeah.
सर एक बार केस 1 में जाए
100%. Yeah. Case 1 mein, this is one case. I'll just write it off.
यस
This is second. And this is
जो हमारा x minus a x minus b is greater than 0
हाँ.
तो
So
यहाँ पे
it
x plus
means-
1 और x minus
नहीं, so it means x minus 1 and 2x negative of negative 1
negative of negative 1 yeah
greater than 0. So x is less than
right
negative 1 or x is greater than positive 1. This one. That is x minus a into x minus b less than 0. I've told you this negative and this 1 are two different elements. This negative and this negative 1 are two different elements, right?
negative yeah, okay yes right.
Agreed?
Yes.
Any problem?
No.
Perfect. So this is all about the basics of how can you play around with the variables. Now there's one very interesting thing comes over here. Can I say even powers cannot be predicted? What do I mean by this? Even powers in algebra with variables cannot be predicted. What do I mean by this? So if I say you if x is greater than y, can you 100% say that x square will be greater than y square? Yes or no? If I say you x is greater than y, can you 100% say that x square will be greater than y square?
No.
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 Absolutely, because imagine 10 is greater than 5. You can 100% say 10 square is greater than 5 square. But technically 10 is also greater than negative 20. But you cannot say 10 square is greater than negative 20 square. No, it is not greater. And that's the reason we say even powers cannot be predicted. But I can take into the more situations to you. Imagine if I say you that if x is greater than y square, if I say you that if x is greater than y square, can you say me ki x will always be greater than y? Because I've made some very harsh statement right now that even powers cannot be predicted. So in none of the cases it will ever be predicted for sure. It's not that I can take just one situation I've taken for you, x is greater than y, x square will be greater than y square or not. That's not the case. Any even power should not be predicted. Simple logic. So if I say you ki x is greater than y square, I can for sure say x is either greater than y or x is less than y. Simple, straightforward logic. Now this is a place where you will go literally mad, but I'll take some numbers. Think very calmly. I'm not taking some tough numbers. So imagine if I take x is equal to 100 and y is equal to, let's say, 1. So can I say x is greater than y square? 100 is greater than 1 square for sure. And 100 is surely greater than 1. And imagine if I say you x is equal to, let's say, 1 by 3. and y is equal to half. Can I say x is greater than y square? That is 1 by 3 is greater than half square? Yeah, because 1 by 3 is technically greater than 1 by 4. But technically 1 by 3 as a number is less than y. So what I'm trying to do over here, see here, and in this case, x is greater than y square. Am I right? And here x is greater than y. In this case, again, what? X is technically greater than y square. Please check. X is technically greater than y square. And in this case, x is less than y. So what I'm trying to say you that if x is greater than y square, x could be greater than y or x could be less than y. And that's the reason it is said that even powers cannot be predicted. So if a question is given to you that let's say is question, the way they'll frame the question is x greater than y square. Option number 1 says x is greater than y. Now what would you say? Or if let's say question is given to you is x greater than y, option number 1 says x is greater than y square. So you will say this statement is not sufficient. Why it is not sufficient? Because we have no idea from here that will x be greater than y or not. It could be greater than y, it could be less than y. I've just shown it to you that x is greater than y square, x greater than y, x is greater than y square, x is less than y. So the reason when we make this a statement that even powers cannot be predicted, it is valid for every place. Every even power, it is valid for sure. It's all about how beautifully you analyze it. Now imagine I'll take the third case now. Imagine if I say if x square is greater than y, even if x square is greater than y, I cannot say x will be greater than y or x will be less than y. Please understand this. Because imagine if I take a number x is equal to 5, y is equal to 4. I'm taking some small numbers, guys, so that you understand it well. If I say x is equal to 5 and y is equal to 4, imagine. Can I say 5 square is greater than 4? Yeah. And 5 is greater than 4. But imagine if I take x is equal to 3 and y is equal to 4. Can I say 3 square is still greater than 4? But 3 technically is less than 4. Simple, straightforward logic. So what I'm trying to say you, all I'm trying to say, you check here, x square is greater than y and x is greater than y. Check here, x square is greater than y, but x is less than y. And that's the reason we come down to a normal conclusion that even powers can never ever be predicted. Simple, straightforward logic. Am I right? Anyone, any problem over here? I hope it's not getting too much. Sudarshana, any problem? Varsha?
No.
No, sir.
Bhaskari, Chaitanya, any problem till now?
No, all clear.
Cool. All cool.
Perfect. So last one normal thing I can say, because we are almost done with the inequality concepts. Now I can ensure you that with these concepts, you can solve any questions of math of inequality. Any questions mean any question that I promise you. But I'll just show you how should we be doing a problem. So last one simple thing, imagine after doing so much, if I say you if A is greater than B, can you conclude AM is greater than BM? Please understand, I'm writing everything in terms of variable. So when I write a variable, you should be in a position to understand that variable is positive, negative, which is not given to you over here. So saying that AM is greater than BM, we cannot say this. Imagine 10 is greater than 5. You can say 10 cross 2 is greater than 5 cross 2. But can you say 10 cross negative 2 is greater than 5 cross negative 2? Agreed? So we can't say this. So if A is greater than B, AM is greater than BM, we cannot conclude this. We can't conclude until we are sure about sign of M. Simple, straightforward logic. Any problem, guys? Any problem? Now the last thing here is imagine if I say you A over B greater than 0, it's all the game of signs. There is nothing else at all that are tested in algebra at all. The questions could be extreme complex, but if you try and simplify, it can be simplified in a very baby terms, I'll tell you. If I say you A over B greater than 0, what does this mean in terms of sign? Can I say sign of A and B are same? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
If I say you A over B less than 0, can I say sign of A and B are opposite?
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. If I say you A over B greater than 1, what do you mean by this? Please think. A over B greater than 1.
A is greater than
A is greater than B.
When?
when both are positive.
When both are
Yeah.
positive.
Opposite signs.
Absolutely. A over B greater than 0 when both are positive. Simple logic. Because A over B greater than B, in terms of sign, they are same sign. This is positive. But the point is, you can't say A as 1 and B as 2. It is positive for sure, but it is not greater than 1. So you will have to take two cases over here. Whenever you cannot conclude something properly, you have to take two cases everywhere. Any variable term is there. And what are the cases? Case 1, if A and B are positive. If A and B are positive, then for a fraction A over B, for a fraction A over B to be greater than 1, A and B should be, A should be greater than B. Case 2, if A and B are negative, then for a fraction A over B to be greater than 1, don't you feel A should be less than B? Because you can't, minus 10 by minus 5 is greater than 1, right? And minus 10 as a number is less than minus B. Minus 5. Simple logic. In negative terms, what happens? Higher the magnitude, lesser the value. Am I right? Is it clear? Agree?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now come down. Let's solve some questions based on this. What we have done. I'll just show it to you. One thing. So we have in fact done all the key concepts of inequalities. So key concept 1 says what? If A is greater than B, AM greater than BM. We cannot predict this until we are sure about the sign of M. Concept number 2 is all about what are the values you should take when you are trying to solve some questions. I'll try my best to solve maximum number of questions algebraically. There are very few questions where you will have to use numbers. I'll try my best to solve it algebraically. But if you solve by numbers, it's a great thing. So point number 2 is just trying to say what are the numbers that you should be taking when you are solving a question. But please understand, there is no defined set of values. It's just that these are the normal numbers that you can take and test for yourself. But there's no defined set of values. And I'll tell you while we are doing the question as to how should you be thinking about the numbers for sure. I'll tell you very clearly about that. So can we, point number 3, any problem, anybody? Please tell me. X minus A into X minus B less than 0, it means that X lies between A and B. X minus A and X minus B greater than 0, it simple means X lies outside of A and B. That is, X is either less than A or greater than B. Any problem here, guys? Please tell. All clear? Point number 4, X square greater than X. What does this mean? That either X is greater than 1 or X is less than 0. X square less than X. It means X lies between 0 and 1. And X square is equal to X. It means what? So guys, please ensure one thing. If you have to solve these small equations, and if I ask you to solve this, you're not supposed to start going X square minus X is equal to 0. So X into X minus 1 is equal to 0. So this is A and this is B. If AB is 0, either A can be 0 or B can be 0. You don't have to go through this conventional method and all. It's pretty simple. When there are small expressions given to you, just think for what value of X LHS is equal to RHS. Imagine if I take X is equal to 0. Can I get LHS is equal to RHS? Yeah. If I take X is equal to 1, can I get LHS is equal to RHS? Yes. So these are the only two value of X which will give you X square is equal to X. There is no other value in the entire number system except 0 and 1 for which X square will be equal to X. Is this making sense? Yes or no? Varsha, Rishita, Ankit, any problem here?
Yes, no problem.
No, no.
So simple. If x square is equal to x can be either 0 and 1. Except for 0 and 1, there does not exist any value in the number system for which x square will be equal to x. So these are the two solutions of x square is equal to x. X cube greater than x. I've told you either x can be greater than 1 or x can lie between 0 and 1. X cube less than x. Please ensure that you do it in your homework 100%. 100% this should be your homework. That should be done. Now it comes x cube is equal to x. Now again the same thing. Do not blindly start solving it. It's simple. If I put 0, LHS is equal to RHS. If I put 1, LHS is equal to RHS. If I put -1, still LHS is equal to RHS. So these are the three values for which x cube will be equal to x. There is no number in the entire number system except for 0, 1 and -1 for which x cube will be equal to x. Be very sure about it. So do not blindly start solving it that you bring x on the left hand side. When it's a equal to term, think a bit smartly. When it's greater than 0, less than 0, then we'll have to solve as to what values of x we should be taking. That's it. So if I say you point number 11, x greater than y, it is not necessary that x square will be greater than y square. So I can say you even powers cannot be predicted. When I say x is greater than y, it is necessarily true that x cube odd powers are predicted. So if x is greater than y, x cube will be greater than y cube. That's a very simple thing. You can take some number and do it for yourself. Whether you take a positive, negative, negative, positive, it doesn't matter at all. If x is greater than y, x cube will be surely greater than y cube. This relation will always and always exist. So point number 13, I think I have made it very clear. AB greater than 0 means A and B are of same sign. A by B greater than 0 means they are of same sign. Point number 14 says AB less than 0 means A and B are of opposite sign. A over B less than 0 simple means the same thing, they are of opposite sign. That's all. Now guys, point number 15 will clear it later. Because there's a question that is based on question number point number 15. I'll clear that with you for sure. But now whatever we have studied, doing questions, your entire study in math without doing question is null and void. Remember, in math there is nothing called you read theories. You can keep reading theories for next 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. Nothing gonna happen till you force yourself to solve a question. Do not worry about it. I'll be there. I'm there to help you in this regard. But can we try doing question number 1, please? And before you start this, I just wanna say that this is one of the very tough questions that I have put over here. It's actually a tougher one. But the reason behind giving you this question, that this one question alone is more than sufficient to clear the entire understanding of a DS problem. The entire reason for doing this question here is that you understand how to solve data sufficiency question. I'm not expecting that you solve it for sure. But before you get into this, guys, there are two things that we have to also, what we have done till now is like two types of a question, that is type and what type of a DS question. But you need to understand in data sufficiency, there are also two structures of the question that are asked in the exam. I'm just writing this structure. I'll deal with this in the next class very properly. So there are also two structure of the question that are asked in the exam. Simple logic. And what are those two structures? One is when the question is very direct, and other is when some information is given to you in the question. When some info is given to you in the question. Because if there is some info that is given to you in the question, obviously this is not to beautify the question for sure. We 100% need to use this information while we are solving the question, as simple as it is. I'll tell you. So how do we approach a direct problem? We need to understand this. How do we approach a direct questions? And how do we approach when some information is given to you in the question? So any questions I solve now, I'll clear this for sure, whether it's is type, what type, and what are the structure, whether it's a direct questions or some information is given. Now this question, it's is type first thing. Pretty direct question. There is whatsoever no information given to you. And there are two statements given in front of you. Simple logic. Can you please take 2 to 3 minutes? Or I would say 3 to 4 minutes also, no issues at all. I'm not disturbing you for next 4 minutes for sure. Can you please try doing it? Think whatever you want. it is not for you to do it 100%, right? If you can do it, very good. But if you can't do it, you don't have to bother at all. Because the purpose of putting this question is to make you understand how to solve a data sufficiency question. That's all. Please take 3 to 4 minutes, try doing it. I'll stop speaking now. Yes. Any answers? Sarthak, Khyati, what's the answer? Now you can aram se say answer is the even powers cannot be predicted, but there should be a very clear-cut understanding when you say some statement not sufficient, why it is not sufficient. Chaitanya, what's the answer?
Is it E part?
Yeah.
I think first statement is enough.
No, sure.
A.
Because first statement, Khyati, I can straight away say even powers cannot be predicted, so it is not sufficient. If I have to do this in the exam, I won't think 1 second. I won't take 1 second, Khyati, to say that even powers cannot be predicted. So statement number 1 is not sufficient for sure. The entire reason I'm trying to ask you to do this question is to ensure that if this is not sufficient, let's say, Khyati, then what are the yes and no situation that you have got into a paper? Because I would not at all recommend right now that you make this sort of a statement that even powers are not predicted and so this is not sufficient. No, these are the things that you do it in the exam. That's absolutely fine. But when you say even powers can never be predicted, there should be a very beautiful backup behind you to say that statement. And the backup is only that get into a yes. And when you are solving questions in the home, you have to get into the yes and no situation. So please understand one thing, guys. The question says is x4 plus y4 greater than z4. the more numbers of variable involved in the question, the more complex the questions of algebra can get for you. Remember, and the hard part at this place is that there is no relation given between these two variables, between all these three variables for sure. The question is pretty direct front of you. Is x4 plus y4 greater than z4? Statement number one, what we studied today, that even powers cannot be predicted, you can say it is not sufficient. But the point is, when you say this is not sufficient, there should be a pure logic behind it. So imagine if I take a number x is equal to 100, y is equal to 100. I love taking extreme numbers. You can take the number the way you wish. Doesn't matter at all. X is equal to 100, y is equal to 100, and z is equal to 1. Can I say 100 square plus 100 square? Matlab, can I say for these numbers, my statement number one suffice? X square plus y square is greater than z square. And can I say for these numbers, my question suffice? X4 plus y4 is greater than z4? Yes or no? Yup. Yup, Khyati. But
Okay.
it is not sufficient. That's what I'm trying to say you.
Okay.
So is this fine? Now, who can you give me a no situation to this? I've given you a yes situation, that if you take x is equal to 100, y is equal to 100, z is equal to 1, statement number one suffice: x square plus y square is greater than z square, and x4 plus y4 is greater than z4. Simple, straightforward logic, right? Because please understand, it's a data sufficiency question, guys, and you are supposed to answer this question: is x4 plus y4 greater than z4, with the help of statement number one. Statement number one tells you that x square plus y square is greater than z square. Now, with this particular information, that x square plus y square is greater than z square, can you actually conclude that can you say that x4 plus y4 is greater than z4? Yes or no? So we know that even powers cannot be predicted. It is not sufficient. All I'm trying to say you, that I've got a yes situation. When I take x is equal to 100, when I took x is equal to 100, y is equal to 100 and z is equal to 1, I saw that x4 plus y4 is greater than z4. Can you give me, any one of you, can you give me a no situation?
We
Two
can
equals
take
four.
x
X
is equal
equals
to
two.
1 and y is equal to 1, and we can take z is equal to 2.
What is x
So
is equal to?
1
Huh?
and y is equal to 1,
And
and we can take z is equal to 2.
y is equal to 1 and z is equal to 2, right? But do you think for these values, statement number one suffice?
No.
Or
Are you taking a correct value, Chaitanya? What is the question? Understand that the reason I'm solving you this question is not that you are able to solve or not. Please discuss very openly. All I'm trying to say, you have to prove this questions with the help of statement number one, Chaitanya. And you are, the way you have taken the values, you are making a statement number one itself null and void. Then do you, because a lot of people take x is equal to 1, y is equal to 1, and z is equal to 10. And they tell me, Rahul, 1 to the power 4 plus 1 to the power 4 is not greater than 10 to the power 4. But do you think you can take these numbers? Yes or no? Tell me this first. Because whatever number you take, please 100% be very sure that statement number one should be sufficient. You are not supposed to challenge. So in data sufficiency, statement must always be respected. The statement must always be respected. You cannot challenge the statement at all. The point is, if you take x is equal to 1, y is equal to 1, z is equal to 10, then to every questions you can take whatever number you wish and you say it is sufficient and not sufficient. The point is, you are supposed to take numbers with the help of statement. Statement number one says x square plus y square is greater than z square. This is given to you. Now, when you know this, that x square plus y square is greater than z square, can you come down to a conclusion that x to the power 4 plus y to the power 4 is greater than z to the power 4? What I have done here, I have taken x is equal to 1, y is equal to 1, z is equal to 10. Now, technically, these numbers are not trying to satisfy my statement number one. And if it is not satisfying, it means you are doing something of whatever you wish to do in your life. You are absolutely not following the questions at all. Am I making sense, Chaitanya?
Yeah.
So you can't take that number. What? 5, 6, 7. Yeah, you can, I think, take it. But that will be a pretty hard number to calculate, Rahul. So any
two,
other
three,
one?
four.
2, 3,
X
4.
equals to
1
2.
second. 1 second. I think, let's see. X is equal to 2. Y is equal to 3. Z is equal to 4. So 2 square plus 3 square is what? That is 4 plus 9
13.
is 13. Greater than? Do you think it is greater than Z square?
Uh,
So you can't take this number. Simple, be 100% sure. In any data sufficiency questions you are trying to solve. The reason I'm giving, I give first, I make you solve first question. This is not that you can solve it or you can't solve it, but there's a lot of discussion in this question, which ensures that you understand how to approach a data sufficiency problem. That's something which is very important. So you can't take 2, 3, 4 at all. You have to ensure that whatever number you take, the statement number 1 should be satisfied, because end of the day, you are trying to answer this question with the help of statement number 1. And if you do not satisfy this statement, then too again you can take any number. You take 1, 1, 10, but that makes no sense at all. That may give you a right answer here, but in other questions you will be like completely gone.
4, 5, 6.
4, 5, 6, yeah, it will make sense for sure. But let's take some small number. Can I take 3, 3, 4? Yes or no? Imagine if I take 3, 3, 4, can I say x square plus y square is greater than z square? That is 9 plus 9 is greater than 16. Am I 100% right? So if I take number statement number 1, suffice. Giri, is this being clear? Or any
Yeah,
problem?
making sense now. No, making sense now.
Now for the same number, if I say x4 plus y4 greater than z4, do you think this is happening? Because 3 to the power 4 is what? 81. 81 plus 81 is what? 162. And 4 to the power 4 is what? 256. So do you think 162 is greater than 256? So you have a no situation. You have a yes situation. Khyati, is this making sense now?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the reason we say this is not sufficient. Now the point comes, Rahul, how do I take number? You have to be 100% sure that even powers are not predicted. And this you can tell in the exam. You can do it in the exam. I'm not asking you in exam, you go ahead and do all these bullshit stuffs. No.
तो
In exam,
राहुल एक चीज आपसे पूछनी है.
tell
तो
me.
आप ये कह रहे हो कि जो स्टेटमेंट है
That should
मतलब
be respected.
दैट शुड बी रेस्पेक्टेड, मतलब जो वैल्यूज हम ले रहे हैं वो स्टेटमेंट में तो फुलफिल होनी चाहिए, लेकिन
Because
उसके कॉरेस्पॉन्डेंस आपका जो क्वेश्चन है वो उसमें यस और नो की सिचुएशन बननी
उसमें
चाहिए.
always yes or no situation should be created in the question always. The point is simple. Logically, when you look into this, Giri, they are asking you question, is x4 plus y4 greater than z4, right? And when they have given you two statement, it means what they are trying to say you. They are trying to say you, I have given you this statement x4, x square plus y square is greater than z square. Now they are trying to say you, when I have given you this statement and you have this knowledge that x square plus y square is greater than z square, with this particular knowledge, can you actually come down to the conclusion that x4 plus y4 is greater than z4? This is what it is. So you cannot undefy the statements at all. Statements should and must be respected in any data sufficiency question, because end of the day, you are supposed to answer the question with the help of statement given to you. If you take here x is equal to 1, y is equal to 1, z is equal to 10, then you are doing question all by yourself. You have no idea as to what you are doing. That's the whole logic about it. Agreed?
Yeah.
Now there are lots of numbers that we can take. A lot of people ask me, Rahul, how do you get to know the numbers and all? So numbers and all, please ensure you 100% know this statement is not sufficient. So you should ensure that you have a yes and no situation in your question paper, in your paper, the way you are solving. Now to get a yes situation is pretty simple. You take extreme values and you get done with it. You will get the yes and no situation. But imagine, how do you get a no situation? See here, z to the power 4 is what? In no situation, what I have to ensure that z to the power 4 should be greater than x4 plus y4, right? 100%. If at all you take value of x, y, and z, first thing that you should realize that you cannot take value of x and y greater than. Imagine if you take here 4, 4, you can't take 3 over here. Or let's say whatever is this. Let's say this is 2 only. It doesn't matter at all. But technically, 4 to the power 4.
You are not audible.
Right now? It's fine now?
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Perfect. So sorry, man. Sometimes my mic switches off. Here, so all I'm trying to say, how should you be taking a number? To create a no situation, you just have to ensure that if you are trying to create a no situation, z4 should be greater than x4 plus y4, right? So the number that you imagine of z should be greater than x and y. This is the first thing that you should look upon. And I always tell, when you are taking, there is a no particular way to take numbers. You will learn to take numbers when questions are in your head and you exactly know what you are trying to do from here. Now imagine, here I can take a lot of number. I'll just show it to you. I can take here 4, 4, 5. That would also make sense because 4 square plus 4 square is what? 16 plus 16 greater than 25. Statement number 1 is done. But 4 square plus 4 square is what? 256. plus 256. 5 to the power 4 is what? 625. So 200, 200, it is 400, 56, 56, 100 more. That is 500 something you will get here. And this is 625. Imagine if you take 4, 5, 6. That will also make sense. 4, 5, and 6. So now when I say 4 square plus 5 square, that is 16 plus 25 is surely greater than 36. But now you take 4 to the power 4. This is 256. 5 to the power 4. This is 625. Now 625, 600, 200, that is 800. 56, 25, it does not crosses 100 at all. So it will be somewhere around 800. Now here it is 36 into 36. See here, 30 cross 30 is what? 900. So 36 into 36 has to be greater than 900, and this is somewhere around 800. So you don't have to come down to a concrete value, because if you start doing all these things, 36 into 36 and all, what question was supposed to take 2 minutes, but if you start calculating, you are done. This question you might solve in 5 minutes, 6 minutes, but that was not something that you were expected to. Am I right? So this is statement number 1. Please tell me, is anyone has a confusion still that why statement number 1 is not sufficient? Sanskriti, any problem here? Kathy, is this clear? Sarthak, any problem?
I have a small doubt here.
Tell me, sir.
So in the statement 1, that is x square plus y square is greater than z square.
Ha.
So both the sides are positive. X square plus y square is also positive, and z square is also positive or 0.
Right.
So
Correct.
what I did is x square, I square the both sides and the sign won't change.
100%, 100%. But when you
So
square both the sides, Sarthak, you are
uh,
bringing one more variable, 2x square by square.
that is also positive. 2x square y.
Right. Correct.
So and the left, and what is left is
It is positive for sure. But the point is that when you try and create a yes or no situation, that is the place you will go mad about it.
No, the equation is coming x to the power 4
equation will come x4 plus
plus
y4 plus
2x square y
2x
square
square y square greater than z square.
z square. So 2x square y square is either 0 or greater than 0.
Which one? 2x square and y
2x
square?
square.
Yeah, it's a positive number for sure.
It's a positive number.
100%. Because x square is any number. Square is always positive. The minimum value of a square could be 0. But x square as a number can never be negative. You cannot say x square is equal to -1. This is wrong in math.
Yes.
What exactly do you determine from there? What is exactly that you are inferring from there?
Okay, so now I did this 2x square y square is greater than 0. So x square plus y, x to the power 4 plus y to the power 4 is greater than z to the power 4.
Separate element now यहाँ पे Sarthak, like you can take any number here. You take here 100, 100, 100. If I ask you, Sarthak, take z is equal to somewhere around like just more than 100 or whatsoever number. The point is you will have to 100% specify in terms of if you are trying to create a no situation, Sarthak.
I got it. My
Right.
mistake.
So this will, no, there are a lot of people who does this, but technically you try and create one more thing in your, one more complex, because already there are 3 variables, x, y, z. And you are trying to create one more element over here. And end of the day, you will tell me this statement by creating a yes and no situation for sure. As to, there are a lot of ways what you are doing. When we come to the next questions, you can aram se think while looking into the question itself. That can create a yes or no situation, but not in this question for sure.
Actually,
it will make me more mad, right? 100%. Anyone who has a problem with this, please tell me this question. With this statement number 1. Ankit, Bhaskari, any problem? Sapna, Saras, Yash, Jana,
okay.
any problem?
No,
Rahul, all clear? Perfect. So this is statement number 1. Now come down to statement number 2. And now technically I'll end up taking same values because it will become very much easier for me to combine. I just have to see whether I can take the same values here or not. Yeah. Imagine I take x is equal to 100, y is equal to 100, and z is equal to 1. Is statement number 2, is it sufficing statement number 2, x plus y greater than z, right? x4 for this number, x4 plus y4 is also greater than z4. I have a yes situation with me. In no situation, imagine I take exactly the same value now. X is equal to 3, y is equal to 3, z is equal to 4. Can I get x plus y greater than z? Again, that is 3 plus 3, 6 is greater than 4. And can I get here x4 plus y4 not greater than z4? We have just done it. So I have a yes and no situation. I can say this statement is not sufficient. And technically, when we have taken the same value, you can aram say conclude here. Imagine if I say x is equal to 100. Now A is not sufficient, B is not sufficient. I'm trying to combine now. X is equal to 100, Y is equal to 100, Z is equal to 1. So that means statement number 1 suffice, x square plus y square greater than z square. Statement number 2 suffice, x plus y greater than z. My question suffice, x4 plus y4 is greater than z4. I have a yes situation. But when I take x is equal to 3, y is equal to 3, z is equal to 4. Statement number 1 suffice, x square plus y square is greater than z square. Agreed. Statement number 2 suffice, x plus y greater than z. 3 plus 3, 6 is greater than 4. But my question does not suffice. And A is not sufficient, B is not sufficient, C is not sufficient. So answer is E. Because D says what? Each of them are individually sufficient to answer the question. Agreed? Any problem here?
No.
Perfect. Can we do question number 2, please? Take your time. Take 2 minutes.
None of the above.
None of the above. What the answer? So
Yes, E. None of the above.
perfect. Anyone else? Varsha, Bhaskari, Chaitanya, answers please.
Yeah, it's E.
Okay. Sapna, Saras, answer. So it's pretty simple, guys. Again, see here, the question is what? Is x minus y over x plus y greater than 1? Simple, straightforward question. There's a bit of information that is given to you. That is x is not equal to negative y. What does this mean? The simple means that x plus y is not equal to 0. The point is key, looking into the question, you should not, by default, you should not consider that x is 5 as y is negative 5, but for the precautionary measure, they have already given to you in the question that you cannot take any such values where x plus y will come as 0. So they have told you that if you are taking x as 5, you are not supposed to take y as negative 5. Simple, straightforward logic. This is the understanding from the question. The bit of information that is given to you, but I would still consider this question as a very direct problem. Now, look into statement number 1, x greater than 0 and y less than 0. Imagine if I'm just doing for statement number 1, x greater than 0. But this doesn't say anything about value of y at all. So imagine I take x is equal to 10, y is equal to 5. What do I get? X minus y, that is 10 minus 5 by 10 plus 5, that is 5 by 15. That is 1 by 3, which is less than 1. I have a no situation. But I'll have to create a yes situation if I want to say this statement is not sufficient. It is pretty simple logic, guys. If you're solving a type of a question and you say statement is not sufficient, there should be a very clear-cut yes and no situation on your pen and paper. You will not say anything from your mind at all. Absolutely no. In maths, don't do that at all. Until you have a yes and no situation on pen and paper, you should not be doing it. Now I'll take case 2. Imagine I take x is equal to 10. And from option number 1, I have no idea about y. So now I'll consider y as negative 5. So this gives me what? X minus y over x plus y will become what? 10 minus of minus 5 over 10 minus 5. That is 15 by 5. That is 3, which is greater than 1. I have a yes situation. I have a yes situation. I have a no situation. I can straight away say this statement is not sufficient. Agreed? Option number 2 says what? Y is less than 0. I can straight away now say no idea about x. So this is also not sufficient. You please don't say this. You please ensure that you get the yes and no situation. Only then you can say it is not sufficient. Now I'm trying to combine this statement that x is greater than 0 and y is less than 0. Because option number 2 is not sufficient. This is your homework, guys. Ensure that you get a yes and no situation. Before you say anything not sufficient, you should have a yes and no situation. You cannot say no idea about x or even powers can't be predicted, all these things. Now I'm trying to combine it. So imagine x greater than 0, y less than 0. I've already taken a value. X has 10, y is negative 5. I've got 3. I've got a yes situation. Can you please give me a no situation? I've got a yes situation. I'm now trying to combine both the statements because both are not sufficient. And statement number 2, not sufficient, you have to prove in your home. Not sufficient, this is not sufficient. I'm trying to combine now. I've taken one value, x is equal to 10, y is equal to negative 5. I've got a yes situation. That 5 by 15 is equal to 3 greater than 1, yes situation. I just want a no situation from you because if you at all want to say it is answer is E. What are the values you have taken, Sarthak?
So I simplified this equation a little bit, and the final equation which I got is y by x plus y is less than 0. So I
But
then,
you simplified in what way?
like, I took 1 in LHS. Minus 1 is greater than
Oh, you
0.
have brought it minus 1. Ha, it is
Yes.
exactly the same thing. I thought you cross multiplied.
No,
Then
no,
it's
no.
fine. Then it's fine. Then it's fine. But here, imagine. Now, I've told you all that when you take numbers, you taking numbers directly depends on how you look into the question. That's a very critical analysis that you will have to do. Imagine when you have x greater than 0 and y less than 0. If you look into the numerator part, if you take x greater than 0, y greater than 0, don't you feel the numerator will always add up? Yes or no? Don't blindly keep taking numbers. Always take numbers, and that number should make sense with question. All I'm trying to say you, how should you be taking a number? What is given to you? X is greater than 0, y is less than 0. If you take this number, your numerator will always add up, yes or no? Irrespective of whatever number you take.
Yes.
You take x is equal to 1, y is equal to negative 100. You take x is equal to 100, y is equal to negative 50. It does not matter what value you are taking, but your numerator always adds up, right? Now, once you understand this, then your entire job should be to think about denominator. Simple, straightforward logic. Now denominator is x plus y. Clear? Denominator is x plus y. So my job should be here. Imagine if I take x as 10. And if I take y, magnitude y is more than 10. Imagine if I take y as minus 20. Am I done or not? Straight away. Because my numerator will add up. 10 minus of minus 20, 30. 10 minus and 30 by 10 minus 20. That is 30 by negative 10, which is less than 1. Simple, straightforward logic. So I have a no situation. I have a yes situation. And that's the reason I go with answer E. Am I making sense? Yes or no?
Yes.
Rahul, you have taken x is equal to 3, y is equal to negative 1. You will get, yeah, that's also fine. Any problem here? Are you people tired or what?
No.
Too much of information today. I'm so sorry.
Bheja fry.
Well, yeah. Just one more questions and we'll close the session for today. Don't worry. One more question. The beautiful questions can be done in 20 seconds, but again, it depends how you think on it. Question number 5, can we do it? Last questions and we'll close the session. Because for a majority of you, I think, yeah, this might be a very new thing. Make you mad right in the first session. But please, guys, go and watch the video again. The handouts that we are solving, you should be 100% clear with every questions very conceptually. Only then it would make sense for you to go and do some sort of unseen questions, or else it won't make any sense. Trust me.
A.
A. Okay.
A.
Absolutely. So here, so like for me, I'll tell you how should you approach a question. There's a bit of information given, but it's only playing around with the that k is not equal to 0, 1, minus 1. So my question becomes now, is 1 over k greater than 0? This is my question, is 1 over k greater than 0, right? Now before, it's always good approach to have a better understanding of a question rather than straight away getting into the statement. So tell me one thing, 1 over k will be greater than 0 when? Like when
When
I've
K
told
is
you
positive.
When k is between 0 and 1.
More than one.
a by b greater than 0 means what? Sine of a and b should be same, simple logic. So 1 is positive, so say k should be positive. Imagine if I prove if I prove k is greater than 0, don't you feel this question by default is taken care of?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I'm not bothered about 1 by k and all. I'm just bothered about to prove is k greater than 0, because this is how I have simplified the question for myself. I don't want to deal in the fractions at all. So my job is simple, that if at all, for any particular questions, if at all, if you feel that you can simplify the questions for yourself, do simplify it 100%, and this will happen slowly and gradually. So can I say my question, new question that I can say is k greater than 0? And this is all about the analysis that I have done right now. There's no rocket science at all. My question says, is 1 over k greater than 0? And 1 over k is only greater than 0 when k is positive. So if I make a question, is k greater than 0? 1 over k by default will be greater than 0. So my simple logic, my simple questions, according to me, I have changed this, is k greater than 0 or not? Now statement number 1 says what? 1 over k minus 1 is greater than 0. Am I right? Yes or no? This is what my statement number 1 is said. Agreed? And what I have told you, statement must always and always be respected. You are not supposed to challenge the statement at all. You should 100% try and respect the statement. So statement number 1 says 1 over k minus 1 is greater than 0. I'm asking you, when is this condition possible? When numerator and denominator will have the same sign. So numerator is positive. For 1 over k minus 1 to be greater than 0, k minus 1 should be greater than 0 and k is greater than 1. If k is greater than 1, k is by default greater than 0. Can I say statement number 1 is sufficient? Yes or no? Anyone, any problem here? Varsha, Rishita, any problem here? Bharat, any problem?
No, sir.
No, sir.
लेकिन राहुल इसमें कोई वैल्यू ले रहे हैं तो वो तो डिनोमिनेटर में जा रही है ना, तो फिर वो ग्रेटर देन, अच्छा शिट,
But the point is, if I
Okay.
told you
नहीं,
take
नहीं.
any value, you should take value k greater than 1, Giri.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Right? Any problem? Ankit, Bhaskari, any problem? This is the last question, guys. I'm stopping
No,
now. I
Rahul.
understand it's getting too
Not
much
at all,
longer.
not at all. No problem.
Perfect. Now, exactly statement number 1, the way you respected statement number 1, in the same way you respect statement number 2 also, because it is given to you 1 over k plus 1 is greater than 0. This is given to you in the statement number 2. So this information is 100% true. You are not supposed to doubt it, because this is given to you in the statement. All I'm trying to figure out, 1 over k plus 1 will be greater than 0 when? When k plus 1 is greater than 0. That is, k is greater than negative 1. Am I right? Yes or no? Tell me.
Yes.
Right? And if k is greater than negative 1, can I say k can be equal to negative half?
Yes.
My question is, what is k greater than 0? If k is equal to negative half, it's no situation. But k can also be equal to 2, 3, 4, to any value infinity. It's a yes situation. So I can say this is not sufficient. Simple, straightforward logic. So answer is A. Agreed? Any problem? Imagine if there's a slight change in the question. Imagine. Slight change in the question. If they say if k is an integer. I'm never in favor of you changing the question the way you wish to. You should just solve the question. Don't try and figure out why, if there is could be this in the question, what would happen and all. Those things are not, those thought process are not required. But imagine if I say if k is an integer and k is not equal to 0, 1 and minus 1. Is 1 by k greater than 0? What should be your answer? No?
D.
D for
C.
Delhi.
D.
D.
Because it says k is greater than negative 1, right? Statement number 2 gives you what? K is greater than negative 1. But they have also told you k is not equal to 0, 1 and minus 1. So the only value k can take is from 2, 3, 4 to infinity. Am I right? Why did I take minus half here? Because it is not given to me in the question that k is an integer. In the actual question, it is not given to me. I'm telling you, if it is given to you if k is an integer and k is greater than negative 1 and k is not equal to 0, 1 and minus 1, the only value that of k you can take is 2, 3, 4, right? Agreed? So
Yes.
answer will go to D. My question was what? Is k greater than 0? If k is greater than 1, sufficient. If k is greater than negative 1, considering k is an integer and k is not equal to 0, 1 and minus 1, even this is sufficient. So answer. So a slight change in the question can change your entire answer. So you might be a very brilliant brilliant student for sure, but still, if you are someone who can do questions in 20 seconds, you should 100% wait 40 more seconds, analyze it well before you go to the next question. Be very sure about it. So this is a normal thing, guys. So what I can do is that, tell me one thing. How many of you all have studied the critical reasoning that I have asked you to do before coming for the class? Anyone who has studied it properly? Because what I can do is that if you have not studied critical reasoning, we can continue doing maths question for 1.5 hours. And then I can teach you CR basics for sure, as to what are the stuff that we should be doing in critical reasoning, how to approach a critical reasoning question, considering if you have not studied. If you have studied, we can do the entire CR class. I have no issue. So what exactly you feel, that should we go ahead and do half math and half CR or complete CR? Sarthak, I don't think you have a document, Sarthak, for critical reasoning. I have not sent to you, I think.
Yes. Yes. That's why
Half
I'll send it to you. I'll
math, half
send it.
CR.
What? Half quant and half CR? That will be good, because CR is a huge thing that you need to study, guys. And you will love CR once you have studied it well, I promise. And I'll ensure that the questions that I deal with CR in class would be a classy one. where you will be able to understand the entire argument that you read in. What happens in critical reasoning, I'll tell you. There are two ways to approach a critical reasoning question. There's one thing that there's an argument given to you. I'm just telling you a little bit about critical reasoning, and there's an argument given. So one time it happens that you have not understood the argument. Now please understand, if you do not understand the argument, no one in the world can help you. No one. No one can teach you to read and understand it. What I have done is I've taken some very beautiful questions that I'll discuss in critical reasoning with you. But I think let's discuss questions with the next week. That will be much better, because if you have not studied critical reasoning book, it will be tough to sit in the class for sure. The questions that I have taken about critical reasoning, I just want to share it with you. The question that I have taken in critical reasoning, that 100%, 99% time you will understand the argument well. And despite that, there might be a problem when you are looking into the question. So please understand, there are two things that happens. If you can't understand the critical reasoning argument or reading comprehension passes, you should not break your head on that passage at all. You are no Shakespeare. It might happen that there are some passages or some argument which you and I may not understand. So let it be. You don't have to worry about that. You have to only worry about the questions which is very well understood to you, and despite that you are getting a wrong answer. That will deal tomorrow very properly in the class. You don't have to worry about it. 100% I'll do it in the class, but I think today it's a lot what we have done. So tomorrow what we can do is that let's continue for 1 hour solving questions of inequality. And the second half, we can start critical reasoning. I can explain you the entire basics and tell you exactly what needs to be done. I think that will make much more sense, because if you at all you have to start reading from now, you will anyway not be able to complete till tomorrow. It's a lot. But let's do this then. Let's continue tomorrow, first half of the class with an equality problem, so that you understand it very well. If I leave it for the next week, again, it's gone. And next half, we can start with the critical reasoning. Is that okay? Sarthak, I'll send you a book. Don't worry.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sure.
Perfect then. I think
Rahul, I also don't have critical reasoning, I guess.
which one? Chaitanya? No, you might be having Chaitanya. I think I have sent you a verbal class email. Check there.
Okay, sure. Let me
In
check.
the verbal class email that I have sent you, there is a critical reasoning. Sarthak, I have not sent it to you. I'll send it to you for sure. Giri, I think you will be having. Yes.
Rahul, I
Yes.
don't have.
Perfect. Yes, I'll send it to you. Just WhatsApp me, Yash. I'll send it.
Okay.
Anything else, guys? How was the class? How did you feel about the class? Was it okay?
It was
Yeah.
nice.
It is good.
Good.
Perfect. Yes, Bhaskari. Chalo, fir bye. Let's meet tomorrow, same time, 2 o'clock. I just
Okay.
don't want to burden with a lot of problem right now. Let's start the class properly. Next week, we'll have a proper stuff. From next week, we'll have a properly 3 hours. I'll give you breaks also in the middle of 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, breaks. That's
yeah,
what
100%.
10 minutes breaks in between really will go a long way.
No, I swear, I'll give it to you. Nothing to worry about.
And one more question I had. Now, whatever you've taught, like we can choose those sections and practice, right, over the official website. So, do you have a preference that we practice only easy level questions or medium level questions, or we just randomly practice? How should we go about it?
You don't have to randomly do it. First of all, the handout that I've given you, be very sure about it.
Practice that,
Once
yes,
we are
that's the
done
first
with
thing.
this, I will give you the questions. You don't have to worry about
Okay,
it.
cool. Okay.
I'll give you the entire stuff to practice, everything.
Okay.
Once we are done with the class, I'll give you extra questions to practice. Please go ahead and do it.
Okay.
And once you are
Because
done
all
with
the
that, I'll
mistakes
explain
you
you.
have told in the during the course of the session, I've done all those mistakes in the past. So I know my tendency that without practice, the mistakes just come in from anywhere or somewhere.
Don't worry about
So I
that
need
part.
a lot of practice to increase the speed. I can be like a tortoise in my speed sometimes.
No, you don't have to worry.
So-
I'll take care of that part. Absolutely.
All right,
don't worry
cool.
about it. Just ensure that the handout that we are discussing, right? Simple. See here, I'll just show it to you. The handout that we are discussing at this place is.
Now your mic can't hear you.
One second.
Yeah, your mic is fallen off.
Sorry.
That's also getting hungry or sleepy. I don't know something.
No, actually. So see, this is the handout that I'll be discussing in inequalities with you. So all I have a simple request. That
Yep.
it's a good thing that you go and practice unseen question. That's the best thing. That's the entire thing about reading maths. Because if you are not practicing unseen question, it's a problem. But ensure that before you practice unseen question, whatever problems are given to you over here, should
Yep.
and must be taken care of at a very conceptual level. So the question that we are discussing, guys, do not treat it as just as a question. Ensure that it's a sort of an equality theory for you. This is
Yeah,
my
fundamental.
responsibility that I'll ensure that everything is crystal clear to you. Absolutely at a very crystal level. You can always ask me from Monday to Friday, call me, WhatsApp me, no issues at all. I'll be available. But just ensure that you should be very clear with all these questions, or else it will simply going and doing unseen questions would make no sense at all. Now, to be clear with this handout, some of you may have to do it 2 times, some of you may have to do it 3 times, some of you may have to do it just 1 time. But please do take your own time, have your based on your own capacity. Try doing it as much as you can, but be 100% sure that after 1 month, if I ask you question number 4, you should be in a position to tell how to approach with this question. So when I'm asking you to do it 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, I'm not essentially asking you to remember the questions. No. All I want that if there's a question number 5 that we have done, if I ask you after 1 week, will you be in a position to tell me how are you approaching the question? I'm not bothered whether you get a right answer or a wrong answer. Eventually that part will be taken care of. But if you don't know how to approach a problem, that will become then it will become a very tough thing. Trust me. So that is one thing that we should not be doing. Agreed?
Okay.
Chalo,
Cool.
fir, let's meet tomorrow at 2 p.m. And from
Okay.
next week, I'll have a class of properly of 5. Tomorrow, I think it may go for 3 hours for sure, because we'll be doing maths plus wobble will be starting. And from next week, we'll have a 3-hour class with aram say 10 minutes break in the between. So it will not be a hassle for you all.
Cool. Yeah. That break
Perfect.
is absolutely necessary, please,
100%.
at this stage.
Take care,
Yeah.
man. Bye. See
Yeah.
you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Great.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.